And 94.5 FM. Jason Minix, The Blitz.
It is The Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. I'm Jason Minix. Solid Wednesday afternoon, I suppose. I would say good Wednesday, but, you know, it's one of those days that when I woke up this morning, I should have just taken the day off, said to hell with all of this. I need one of those mental days, some crap with different things going on. Sometimes I wonder about management, but that's beside the point. I think Jaylon Smith probably feeling the same way.
Tell us how you really feel, Jason.
Dude, it's been one of those days. It's been one of those days, and depending on how things happen, it has nothing to do with work, by the way. It's one of my dogs. I don't want to get into it right now, but, you know, she's at the vet now. I don't know if she's coming home. It's one of those things. Then on top of everything else that goes on, you know how that goes. But anyway, you know, you get through it. One of those things. Anyway, baseball last night wasn't as good as I was hoping it would be, but as a non-Yankee fan, I was kind of thrilled with the way things worked out in Boston. I just couldn't believe some of the things I saw in that game. You know, it's one thing when you think about a baseball game. 162 game regular season comes down to a one and done. And then, you know, Garrett Cole, maybe he does need trash cans. Aaron Judge, maybe he needs a stop sign. I don't, you look at that and you go, how do you get to this point and make those kind of mistakes in a playoff game? But then I listened to what A-Rod was saying yesterday, more pressure in a one-game wild card than in Game 7 of a World Series. And last night, you could see the Yankees unable to handle the pressure. You look at tonight, and I love October baseball. Tonight's game with the Dodgers and Cardinals, there has not been a hotter team down the stretch than the St. Louis Cardinals. Yet the Dodgers are favored to win the World Series. What if they don't even survive tonight? When you think about how you're going to place your money and bet everything down. We'll talk some baseball coming up. Lots of Cowboys news, obviously. Jane Slater from the NFL Network. She will join us coming up at 5:30. With the latest on everything going on with Jalen. We'll get into it. We got to talk to a Hall of Famer today, Pledge. Always great to catch up with the Cowboys Hall of Famer. Mel Renfro is going to join us coming up at 6 o'clock. Always fun catching up with an old friend. Maddy Skye, she joins us at 4:30 as she does every Wednesday. But the big story, and the Spurs play tonight. We'll talk some Spurs basketball. In fact, James Pledger apparently has been on a campaign to get a nickname for Josh Primo. And you've been saying something a lot on the Saturday morning hangover. The Carl Schoening had lunch with his dad today. Wink, wink. Everybody knows Carl's dad is Bill, right? Bill does not like your suggestion, according to Carl. I think we've got a campaign now to figure out what we need to call it. Although whoever's doing the G League games, and I'm not sure if it's still Carl or not. I think it is Carl, but because I still think Josh Primo spends a lot of time in Austin this year. But James Pledger, you've been saying since draft night or a couple days after the draft that when Josh Primo takes a three, it needs to be what?
It's a Primo Thremo.
Primo Thremo. Bill Schoening, according to Carl, thinks it needs to be what?
Primo for Thremo. He just had a 4 in there.
He did. What do you guys like better? I mean, as the broadcaster, the easier, the cleaner, the fewer words, I think would be better. So you don't trip over yourself trying to say something, right? I mean, it's, you know, like the Manu Trace, right? The, you know, the Pirtle Jam, you know, Bill Land and Bill Schoening are great at that. The Primo Thremo. There's a lot of hype for this kid. And look, with what he did coming into the second half of his first preseason game, or what legends are born of, the excitement level is certainly there. Daniel Reyes on Facebook says, Primo Thremo. Mitchell Fur and the James Pledger fan club. Primo Thremo it is. Oh, Rudolph Renee wants to go Thremo for Primo. Yeah, there's always got to be that one guy in the room, huh? I mean, you look at it and you sit there, it's fun. But if you have some ideas, you have some suggestions, hit up James Pledger, make him feel good at I Am Pledger. We can do that. We'll talk some Spurs. But the big story of the day, quite honestly, we finished the show yesterday about 7 o'clock. I'm sitting in my chair eating dinner and looking at Twitter, and my text messages start coming. And I got to admit, when I first saw Adam Schefter's tweet that Jalen Smith was released, I had to go check and make sure that was a verified page. I got to admit, at first I thought, who's fallen for this? Right?
Make sure it wasn't a darn Schefter.
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, there are so many, and you know, all of us have been burned by a fake Woj account, a fake Shefty account, a fake. We've all seen that, right? And it happens just after 7 o'clock. So a little too late, you know, for selfish purposes for what we do. But you look at it and you sit there and you go, man, what do you do? Jalen Smith cut. Now, the timing of it is interesting because, you know, we played 4 games. I know they tried to trade him last year and they couldn't trade him. We heard about it. There was all the talk about would he get released before the season started. But because he had that wrist surgery last year, he was guaranteed his $7.2 million this year because he has that injury clause. So they couldn't just release him and get out of the deal. Well, I guess they could have, but why do it if you've already guaranteed to pay them? Let's see what you have with some of these young guys. And then you find out more details about his contract. And over the last, it's 4 o'clock, 20 hours, all the information that has started to come out, it all does start to add up and make a lot of sense on why now and what they were doing, the Cowboys, to protect themselves in the future. They've tried to trade him. By all accounts, the Cowboys have been very aggressive in trying to trade Jalen Smith the last couple of weeks, but nobody wanted to take on that contract because he's got an injury clause for next year as well, guaranteeing $9.2 million. And it's any kind of surgery. So a lot of these guys have some sort of cleanup surgery at the end of the year, and that money is guaranteed in March. Can he pass an NFL physical in March? Chances are no if he has any kind of surgery or if he gets hurt. According to all these reports, Jalen Smith refused to renegotiate his deal and take that clause out. From people that I've talked to and other reporters that I trust, the Cowboys wanted him just to redo his deal and take that clause out. They didn't want him to take less money. They didn't want to renegotiate the dollars. Just take that injury clause out. But Jalen Smith, who spent about $500,000 in the offseason to change his jersey from 54 to 9, refused to do that. The guy that wanted to be a Dallas Cowboy for life made the decision easy for the Dallas Cowboys to move on from him. After he bought out all the number 54 inventory from the NFL, which cost him about $500,000, he got 4 games out of wearing number 9. And quite frankly, he never looked good in number 9. But then you start looking at the numbers. So the emergence of Micah Parsons is one thing. Leighton Vander Esch back, he's healthy. It's another. And there's been a lot of games this year. I'm like, man, Jalen's playing good. But he wasn't playing a lot. So then you dive into the Nuggets because the Cowboys, knowing that they were going to have to pay him $9.2 million if he gets hurt. By the way, Leighton Vander Esch is a free agent. Remember, they didn't pick up his option. The idea, and maybe that's why, because they've got 2 guys in the linebacking core that have injury issues, one with a $9.2 million injury guarantee. He hasn't played as much. trying to protect him from getting hurt. Jalen Smith has been on the bench for 116 snaps through the first 4 games of this season. Over the previous 2 years, he was on the bench for a combined 110 snaps. In 4 games this year, he's missed more playing time during a game, Cowboys decision, than what he did the last 2 previous years. Yet none of us saw this coming. Not now. The timing of it was weird. The comments from Mike McCarthy today, generic, of course, nothing very specific, especially when it comes to the contract, the business side of football, which is very, very often. But Mike McCarthy said today, it's the big picture roster move that they had to make.
I'm not going to get into all the specifics of it. I mean, this is a big picture roster move. So, as far as us moving forward, we just felt that this was the right time.
All right, it was the right time to do it now, to just go and release Jalen Smith while you're riding a 3-game win streak.
I mean, there's multiple factors obviously go into these decisions, and that's definitely the case with Jalen. Just a lot of things to go through, but at the end of the day, I had a chance to visit with him last night. Very thankful for my time with him here. Obviously, talked about his experience here in Dallas, and we just felt that this was the best time to make this decision. Obviously, there's not really ever a good time for these type of decisions, but basically just with all the factors involved is why the decision was made yesterday.
Yeah, a lot of factors. You got to go there, and you listen to deep into some of the comments that Mike McCarthy, very complimentary, very conservative in his approach, did say a couple of interesting nuggets.
I mean, you're evaluating your roster all the time. I mean, we had an extensive personnel meeting yesterday, and and we talked through every single player on the roster, and so I mean frankly, that's a normal process. I'm sure every team goes through. It's just once again, it was a big picture roster move, and we felt this was the time to do it.
Why not the beginning of the season, Coach?
Well, I just think just like anything. I mean, there's always factors involved of how you build your 90-man roster. How you go through training camp and get to the 53 and the extended practice squad. So I mean, all those things are involved. Jalen's an excellent football player. I mean, like I said, there's other factors involved in this decision. I mean, he played good football for us. In my time with him, he totally bought into the new direction, the program, everything we've done. Guy practices every single day, plays his ass off. I have nothing but respect for him.
But it became a business decision, and that's one of the things. It's a business. We hate the business side of football. One thing that if you're a longtime listener of the Blitz, I try not to get mad at guys for holding out, for trying to get theirs, because the team will move on in a heartbeat. They get to get their time to go get theirs. Now, if you've signed a contract and you've got a couple years left in your contract, you're not happy with it, dude, you signed your contract. Go play. But when you see guys holding out, trying to get more, there's a small amount of window for them to go make this kind of money. So they've got to take advantage of it. And when a team does something like this, same thing there. The business side of football is obviously very ugly. But through 4 games, things were very clear that this team could be very good without him. Again, think about how well this defense has played. Yet he's missed more snaps this year through 4 games than the previous 2 years combined. That means they're playing great football when he's on the bench.
This wasn't an easy decision. I mean, he's a good football player. He's played excellent football here for a long time. So, but we have an offensive system. And I think it's clear now after 4 games how we're playing, and we just felt with all the factors involved that this is the decision that we needed to make.
And they could afford to move on without him, which is interesting because you look at it and you sit there and you go, a couple of years ago, Leighton Vander Esch and Jalen Smith looked like they were going to become the best linebacking duo in the NFL. Now, what are the ramifications of what the Cowboys did today? It could be very interesting, and I hope that Mike McCarthy has a great grasp on his locker room. I hope that Dan Quinn has a great grasp on that defensive side, because Jalen Smith was very popular in that locker room. He was a team leader. Hell, he was named a team captain for Sunday's game against Carolina. And you know damn well going into that game that the Cowboys Brain Trust knew that they were going to make this move on Tuesday. This isn't something that they decided in the Monday morning meeting. It's not. Those things, the contract guys, they're constantly looking at all this kind of stuff. And I'm sure there was something in the NFL calendar over the last couple of days that said, hey, we played 4 games. You can release your high-priced veterans. Look around the league. The Texans released a guy. The Patriots released a guy, then unreleased him, and then traded him to the Carolina Panthers. So, you know, our segment on should the Cowboys go after Gilmore, well, that died. I mean, because they were able to trade him and get a 6th round for him. I mean, you look at it, something triggered this. But I know that the Cowboys had a pretty good idea that they were going to do this today when they named him a captain for Sunday's game against the Carolina Panthers. It's a cold-blooded business. But you listen to the guys that talk to the media today. I mean, Leighton Vander Esch went off on fans being so critical of people in the NFL. And, you know, for the first time, you listen to Leighton and you realize this hurt because they were buddies. They were buddies. And Leighton talked about how mean people can be on social media, the things that they'll say. And I go, oh, a guy deserves this, a guy deserves that. You're talking about his livelihood. I mean, none of us would want to deal with the scrutiny that players have to deal with. They wouldn't, right? None of us would want to deal with what they have to. Now, part of that comes with the territory and the reason you make the big money that you do. But they are human beings. And that Cowboys locker room, listening to the different guys that spoke today, from Leighton to Zeke. I mean, Zeke came in. Micah Parsons is a smart dude. And Pledge, I don't know if you have the audio on what Micah Parsons said today, so I'll paraphrase with what I saw on Twitter, and we'll talk about it with Jane Slater coming up at 5:30. Micah Parsons said, you know, everybody asked me my welcome to the NFL moment, and I don't know that I've had it yet until now. Because Micah Parsons learned today firsthand just how brutal the business side of the NFL can be. I mean, Micah Parsons got drafted, you know, everything that's happening, star of Hard Knocks. Everything's been great and easy for Micah Parsons. Maybe not easy, but seemingly easy. The adjustment period, I didn't play it all last year, you know, because I sat out the year, and man, I picked up right where I left off. Man, I didn't miss a beat. But reality slaps you in the face when you see a veteran get cut. See, up to this point, the only people that Micah Parsons had seen get cut, that he knew, that he shared a locker room with, that he shared a meeting room with, were guys that went to Oxnard hoping to make the team, but knowing they likely were not going to make the team. But for Micah Parsons to say he finally had his welcome to the NFL moment, yeah, reality. I mean, that's one of the smartest things you could hear, and you could tell it bothered him. Because Micah Parsons also realizes he's playing so damn well, he cost a teammate his job. I mean, you think about it like that. He cost his teammate a job. That and Jabril Cox. You know, Jabril Cox has basically been a special teams guy up to this point, but we saw him in training camp. Apparently, he's been balling out in practice. And the Cowboys knew with Keanu Neal, who got activated off the COVID list today, you get Donovan Wilson coming back. They could run the defense that they want to run without having to have Jaylon Smith there and the threat of that $9.2 million that they've got to deal with. So you look at it, it does open up the ability for Jabril Cox to move up and get a lot more playing time.
Well, I mean, it's just like anything. If you're on the 53, and really if you're on the practice squad also with the exempt opportunity, I mean, everybody's available. I think we've proven that. We've shown that. We want to have competition throughout the week. I think that's very important, particularly with, for as young as we are. And I want these players to see that they have an opportunity to continue to grow and hope to fight to have that opportunity on the 48. So, how that shakes out, and I mean this, it's really up to the players. That's up to all the young players, all the veterans. It's up to them to show and compete and to create the opportunity for themselves.
So when you think about everything, and again, we'll talk about it more coming up with Jane Slater, the NFL Network, and don't feel bad for Jalen Smith. He's going to get a job. I look at a couple of teams and think about where he would be a good fit. And unfortunately, they wear yellow pants. My first thought was the Chargers and that creative defense. Ian Rappaport is reporting that the Packers have a lot of interest in Jalen Smith. They're going to make a push. Matt LaFleur was at Notre Dame with Smith and is a fan of Jalen Smith. And according to Ian Rappaport, multiple teams are in the mix as well. It won't provide the Cowboys much salary cap relief, though, if he signs somewhere, because they're still on the hook for that $7.2 million. But in reality, he signed somewhere. They'll sign him for the minimum, about $1 million, and Jalen Smith is going to have to, or the Cowboys are going to have to pay the difference. So he's going to get his money, and he's going to land on a team. That's just part of it. Other Cowboys news: the Cowboys have activated linebacker Keanu Neal from the COVID list. You think about Keanu Neal. He's an unvaccinated player. He originally went on the list as a close contact. Then he tested positive September 25th. He's missed 2 games. Bradley and I, same situation. He went on the COVID list at the same time. They're getting those guys back. So one out, get a couple in, see where they go. The other interesting news with the Dallas Cowboys is La'el Collins. And I'm not sure what LC is doing with this. You look at LC, according to Jory Epstein of USA Today, an attorney representing La'el Collins has filed a request for a restraining order and immediate injunctive relief to reinstate Collins from league suspension. I'm not exactly sure the legal route that he's taking there, but obviously he doesn't feel like the punishment is fitting the crime and getting that 5-game suspension. What I worry about is if he's able to get a judge in North Texas to do whatever judges do, and he's able to come back to play while they figure things out in the court, and then ultimately he loses, does he have to serve those 2 games down the road? I look at the next couple of games for the Dallas Cowboys, and I look at the way Terrence Steele has been playing, and all I want to say is, dude, Terrence Steele is holding his own. Terrence Steele is fine. LC, serve your suspension. Because if you somehow get a judge to get you back on the field for these couple games and it goes through the process and then you have to sit out 2 games later in the season, maybe when Tyron Smith is hurt and we need you on one side and Terrence Steele on the other, just serve your time. The Cowboys offense has been fine without you. They'll be better with you, but they're fine without you. And you look at what we've got, the Giants this week and the Patriots the week after, they're fine. Serve your 5 games. Don't delay. This is not, a lot of times in the court world, a delay is a win. Not here. It's not what I want. I mean, think about it. These last couple of games, that offense has been rolling. That offense has been fine. Do you imagine? You think about that stretch coming up when they've got like Kansas City and the Raiders and the Saints all in a row. What if the judge comes back and says, yeah, you lost. And the NFL says, all right, well, you owe us 2 games. You're going to miss these. Just serve your time. Just serve your time. Figure out other stuff. But at this point, I don't like the idea of getting temporary relief because those 2 games are still going to be hanging out there. And the NFL says, yeah, this is a waste of attorney time. So We will see. It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. You know, injuries do happen, so if you twist, pull, pop, or snap something, you need Dr. David Espinosa at TSAOG Orthopedics. Dr. Espinosa treats all non-surgical orthopedic injuries, and he has same-day and next-day availability. Telemedicine services are also available. You know there's no reason to be in pain, so if you're hurting, visit Dr. David Espinosa at TSAOG Orthopedics. Learn more online, tsaog.com, or you can schedule an appointment by calling 210-804-5490. 804-5490 for TSAOG Orthopedics. Maddy Skye joins us next after we get a Sports Center update from James Pledger.
Thanks a lot, Jason. Well, the NFL, we saw quite a few cuts today, the biggest being last night, and former Pro Bowl linebacker Jaylon Smith for the Dallas Cowboys. This move comes 2 years after he signed the 5-year, $64 million extension, to which he still owed $7.2 million for this season. In other news, Cowboys cornerback Trayvon Diggs, a week after being named the Defensive Player of the Month for the month of September, has now been named the Defensive Player of the Week after his 4-tackle, 2-pass defense, and 2-interception game in the Cowboys' 36-28 win over the Carolina Panthers. Down in Houston, the Texans released wide receiver Anthony Miller just a little over 2 months after they traded for him, as he had just 5 catches for 23 yards and a touchdown in 2 games with the Texans, who traded a 5th-round pick for him and a 7th-round pick from the Bears back in July. In college football news, the Texas Longhorns have a big recruiting weekend on their hands as they head to the Texas OU, as 5-star wide receiver Evan Stewart will be one of the many recruits to attend the Red River Showdown, as he's one of the top remaining recruits for the Horns and is still considering Alabama, LSU, and Florida. He made his official visit back to the 40 acres in June. I'm James Pledger for San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
If you've been hurt in a crash, do your research. You'll find plenty of lawyers out there. They'll probably do a fine job, but ask yourself, is fine really good enough for you and your family? Don't leave your case to chance. Contact Thomas J. Henry today. San Antonio, Texas.
Hey, Texas fans. Coors Light, the official beer partner of the Texas Longhorns and San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN invite you to join us for the annual Red River Showdown viewing party at Ojos Locos Cantina on Northwest Loop 410, Saturday, October 9th.
That's right. R&R in the morning will broadcast live from 9 to 11. Texas and OU. Kickoff will get going at 11. Enjoy some great food, great Coors Light tailgate prizes, and great Coors Light drink specials. Don't miss the Red River Showdown, Ojos Locos Cantina, Saturday, October the 9th. The party starts at 11. This is Rob Thompson for BetUS.com. My sportsbook, it should be your sportsbook. You ask why? Well, BetUS has been America's favorite sportsbook for over 25 years. You need a sportsbook with integrity and longevity. You need to know that you're going to get paid, and that is BetUS.com. You also need a sportsbook that has everything you want to lay money on: live betting, MMA, golf, and everything else, including all those great prop bets. The number you need is 1-800-79-BET-US. Call them and say KZDC and get 200% in bonuses. That's KZDC. BetUS, where the game begins.
Research shows that people remember radio ads with British accents. So to help you remember that Liberty Mutual Insurance Company customizes your home insurance so you only pay for what you need, take it from a Brit.
Oi, barmy insurance blokes filching dosh out your pocket. It's barmy. Liberty Mutual won't leave you skint, mate.
Can you just say Liberty Mutual customizes your home insurance so you only pay for what you need?
I think that's what I said, you blooming.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty. O'Reilly.
Syntec is back and better than ever at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Syntec is a premium full synthetic motor oil option at an affordable price. Right now, get 5 quarts of Syntec full synthetic and a MicroGuard Select filter for just $31.99. Syntec is formulated for today's engines to minimize friction, heat, and wear. Try Syntec today exclusively at
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Susan, it's so great to finally be able to get together again.
Oh, it sure is. And I really appreciate you picking up the bill.
I'm happy to. I've got the extra cash. Since we've all been driving so much more again, I've been using Get Upside, the free gas app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Get Upside app?
Yes, up to 25 cents a gallon. Cash back every time I buy gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
Some months I make $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Get Upside app now.
Download the free Get Upside app now in the App Store or Google Play to save up to 25 cents a gallon when you buy gas. Use promo code OCEAN for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's up to 50 cents a gallon on your next fill up. You can cash out anytime to PayPal or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Get Upside app and use promo code OCEAN for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code OCEAN.
Cancer claims our loved ones every day. When the Byer family lost company founder Perry Byer to cancer, they established Byer Cares. And this October, during Cancer Awareness Month, Byer Boys will donate a portion of all service fees to the American Cancer Society. Please join us in our fundraising goal by visiting ByerCaresFoundation.com. There's a can in cancer, because together we can beat it.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
This is Jerry Jones, and you're listening to the home of the Dallas Cowboys.
San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
We the Blitz will bring to you the best look of the city view. It's Maddy Skyline, yeah, it's time for Maddy Skyline.
It is time for Maddy Skyline here on the Blitz, San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. I'm Jason Minix. She is Maddy Skye from the San Antonio Express News, the food and culture editor of the San Antonio Express News.
What's up, guys?
What's going on? Well, I was going to say there's a lot going on in our city today with an announcement from Judge Wolf. We generally don't get political here, but that's pretty big news. For the first time in 1,000 years, he's not running for something.
In 1,000 years.
It feels that way.
Happened during my lunch break. So I saw the alert come through, and we have Delilah here. So Judge Wolf, this will be Judge Wolf's last term. He's going to be around for, I guess, for another year in the political sense.
Yes.
And it's just really interesting because I feel like the past, 18, 19 months, almost 2 years, this is the most that we've heard from Wolf in public facing because of COVID. Seeing him, I know in the first couple of months, seeing him in our living rooms and during the COVID briefings, those were so important, and they still do those every so often. But I remember those first couple of months, it's like I've never paid or seen Wolf so much in at that 27 years in San Antonio. I think actually one of his members of his family taught my computer science class when I was in high school, which is just a cool factoid. She was awesome. It was called BCIS. I don't know what that stood for. I'm bad at computers, but the class was awesome. She was one of my favorite teachers, but she was somehow part of the Wolf family.
Well, that's interesting, and again, that is major news because, it's funny because it ties into, I moved to San Antonio in 1993 after I got out of the Navy. One of the reasons, or really the main reason I moved here, when I was getting out of the Navy, looking for, the community college route that I was going to have to go because I was paying for it myself and what the GI Bill was going to do and having to work. The community college there in Miami-Dade and San Antonio College had the two best community college journalism programs in the country. And Mr. Dowdery and Mr. Hunt, Miss Odom, worked with me. I got a job they helped me get a job at the Express News, got some scholarships, and I moved to San Antonio to go work at the Ranger. And the news yesterday about the Ranger closing after 95 years, that hit me like a ton of bricks. I honestly, and I don't think about the Ranger on a regular, except for when I see stuff on social media. But what that college journalism program taught, and wherever you're going to journalism school, whether at UT or whatever the school is, I know at Arizona State, the Walter Cronkite School, or Columbia, Missouri, I mean, you learn so much in those environments. And all the journalists I know that went through that SAC program credit what they learned at the Rangers the beginning of their career because it was real. They treated you in that newsroom as if it were the Express News newsroom. And sometimes, because I was working at the Express News at the time doing agate in the sports department, which sucks. But again, you look at it, it might have been harder at the college newspaper than it was at the Express News back then.
Right. Yeah, that was some shocking news that came out yesterday. And two things, I just learned that you were an alumni. A lot of my coworkers at the Express News are alumni of the Ranger. Did not know that about you too. And I also didn't realize how long the Ranger had been running. 95 years, almost 100 years. That was completely shocking as I wrote that. And I think also was an interesting tidbit in there is that the Ranger just got this national accolade for being one of the top college papers in August. So you can, even if you are new to San Antonio, if you're not familiar with how great the program is, like just knowing that alone is such a huge loss. And one of my coworkers brought up too, what is that going to do for the minority pipeline of reporters that are coming through San Antonio that have these big aspirations of being journalists and being in media and always count on SAC being there for that program. And there was some gray area about the future. I think the program is still going to exist, but the faculty is retiring, or that's why there's all these calls on SAC to kind of boost it and get, the proper faculty and staffing in there, because I think that there is still going to be a course, but there's not going to be a newspaper. It's going to cease to exist for the meantime, but I don't think there's all hope is lost on it ever coming back in the future. But right now there's just not enough engagement and funding too, I think. So
well, funding is a big part of it, and a good faculty obviously I think is in play. I just hope they offer more than just a mass comm. I think about my time at SAC when I got to SAC in 1993. Johnny Ludden had just left, and if you're a longtime Spurs fan, he goes on and was at the Daily Texan, which is the UT paper, covered the Spurs forever, then was covering the NBA nationally for Yahoo, and now he's a big management type there, with Yahoo. But, some of the current Express News reporters were there when I was there. Photographers like Ed Ornalis were there when I was there. And the foundation that they taught. And, I look at those that left San Antonio and, at major news outlets across the country. And let's not forget what they offer at KSYM, which is a fantastic program and a great college radio station. I just, in this time with everything that we're seeing, the idea that we need more good journalism programs, not less.
Definitely. We can never have too many. Sorry about that. Delilah is acting crazy as usual. I don't know if you can hear her. But yeah, it's just really unfortunate, and just judging by the outpouring of support that it got yesterday and continues to today. One of my favorite things too about the SAC program was they really pushed for their students to find current reporters to talk to, and every semester emails come through, and I try to help as many students as I could, but those students were always so willing to learn and so willing to listen. That was also awesome, and I'm going to miss that.
Well, that's it. Like you get the emails, you do, the sit downs, go back into the classroom and talk to them, and you hear some of the same stories that Miss Odom was still telling, or, the idea of the way it's behind and the real world questions that they had to do things. It is just sad to see that's coming to an end after 95 years. What else is going on in our great city of San Antonio besides that? Let's have some good news.
Yeah, so we have a new bar opening, 3-star bar. Jared Pena, you might know him from Brooklyn Night or Hello Paradise. He's a great mixologist. He's an authority here. He is partnering with some of his friends. They're opening 3-star bar, what he calls East Gray, which is right off the Broadway corridor. And it's really funny because the way he describes it is as a dad bar. So it has intentional dad vibes, some wood paneling. I was like, hey, we could have given you some of the wood paneling from my mom's renovation of her house. We had go and get them from a mobile home outfitter out in the hill country. And he also was like, you know what, the best way to describe it is the gremlin scene, the gremlin scene where they're all at the bar. And so it's you can party like a dad, you can party like gremlin, just don't give them water, I guess. So they're gonna have, what I thought was really neat is they're gonna have an in-house seltzer. So a 3-star. Yeah, it's going to be like a lemony mint taste, he told me. So they have their soft opening tonight, Delilah. They have their soft opening tonight, and then she doesn't know showbiz. And then hopefully this weekend they'll be all up and ready to go. So you get your some blue ribbon, some Shiner Bock, just laid back at.
So it's called 3-Star Bar. Where is it at?
East Grayson. So it's where Gray's used to be, kind of by Hello Paradise. I think just a hop, skip, and a jump from there, right by the Pearl. So, you know, there's the nice fancy Pearl offerings, and then just a place where you can roll up your sleeves and get a good beer. He says it's going to be a lot like Stay Golden, which remember it was Stay Golden, and then they shut down that location to open Still Golden because there was a lot of development going on. Still Golden is eventually going to reopen once the headquarters at the office development is done. So he'll have Still Golden, Hello Paradise, and 3-Star Bar all within walking distance. So you never know, maybe that becomes like San Antonio's new entertainment bar district.
Dad vibes, huh? They need an 11 by 17 at Urban Meyer when you walk in.
I don't know what that is. Do we have to be a dad?
Yeah, just Google Urban Meyer from the weekend at a bar in Ohio, and you'll totally get what I mean.
Okay.
All the other listeners, they understand. Pledge gets it. He's trying not to laugh right now because that was just bad. But when you see it, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Urban Meyer, by the way, the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Oh, yes, I saw that. I did see that.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah, there you go. I was going to say, of all the things that have been on social media, I know you had to see that. You just needed to know how it related there.
I did. It's like the Urban Cowboy theme, correct? Right?
No. Pledge. Send her some links. Let's move on so you don't embarrass yourself, Maddy.
So on the flip side, on the very, very flip side, this week is Texas Fashion Week, and it's all based in San Antonio. So tomorrow is the headline Texas Fashion Awards. Yours truly is presenting an award, so I'm very excited about that.
I did not get nominated. I haven't received an invitation that I've been nominated for any fashion awards. This is a crime.
Dad vibe category. Maybe next year. Maybe they'll include that in there. Think about the dad. Yeah.
I'm not David Hinojosa in George Nation, but I can rock a blue polo pretty easily, like 6 days a week.
We always talk about your blue. You should start your own t-shirt line. I think that's what you're trying to plug here.
Maybe. I might eventually. When I get the influencer status, I might be able to do that.
Some Jason Minnick's threads.
Exactly. Dad vibes only.
Yeah. So that's happening tomorrow at Tobin Center. You probably cannot wear a blue polo. I wouldn't recommend it. Maybe a Guayabera, that might be more fashionable.
Wow.
That's my quinceañera, so I think it's okay.
Okay.
We could get him in a Guayabera.
Maybe. All right, what award are you presenting? Do you know?
Magazine of the Year.
Okay. What? So you don't have any other. So if you're presenting, I forget the individual. You're presenting, so you've got to go all out if it's a fashion show, right? You can't just show up in anything, right?
Right. I had to. So I'm trying to be a lot more conscientious of how much I spend because I'm a bit of a shopaholic. I'll buy a gown and it just gets stuck in my closet for God knows when because pictures have been taken and posted. So this time I actually used Rent the Runway. So, but it's a pretty dress. It's not going in like a potato sack. It's nice.
Wait. So they invite you to present an award, but you have to go buy your own dress and do your own hair and makeup. And this is going to be one of those like a wedding day. Hair, makeup, nails, all of it is going to get done. And that's on your dime? That doesn't seem right.
Yeah. I mean, if anybody wants to come in last minute and do my hair and makeup, I'm for it. I'm going to go get my nails done afterwards. I'm so sorry. Delilah is acting like a gremlin herself. I don't know if you can.
James Pledger is perfect. He volunteers. He'll do your makeup.
Okay. No, but I mean, I'll do my own makeup. I don't want to risk it.
No, I mean, James at Halloween, I mean, you'll look like a Marvel character, but I mean, he can do your makeup.
I hope a Superwoman. A Superwoman would be nice.
See, there you go. Although if you need good fashion stuff, you need to hook up with Rudy J's wife, Rudy J from R&R in the Morning here on San Antonio Sports Star. She's got an incredible boutique that's mobile. So, maybe you two need to connect so you can talk fashion, because I can't.
Yeah, see, I don't know what I'm going to do with my hair. I'm very stressed about that. As you can see, I'm not good at hair. Makeup, I can wing it, but hair, don't know.
It looks fine.
Very nervous about that. I'm going to try not to.
It looks fine. It looks fantastic. I'd do it just like that. Or go with the ponytail. I don't know. Have fun with that. I won't be there.
I'll be thinking of you. We'll send you pictures.
Just anybody in a blue polo. Just tag me.
Okay.
See if there's one. I mean, because literally my idea of dressing up is what I would normally have on: jeans, a polo, tennis shoes, and if I've got to dress up, add a sport coat. That's it.
That's all you. Your black tie.
There's no black tie. I don't. I don't have one. Maddy, always appreciate it. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you, guys.
Maddy Skye from the San Antonio Express News, the food and culture editor at the San Antonio Express News. Fashion. It's my cup of tea. I should get more credit for my fashion. James Pleasure gives me crap about my fashion all the time. It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. As we continue, the Chicago Bears have finally named a starter for the rest of the season. I don't know what's different between today and what Nagy said Monday, but we'll try to figure it out. Jane Slater joins us at 5:30 for the latest on Jalen Smith. Let me tell you about Quartermoon Plumbing, Heating, and AC. 210-651-5899 is their phone number. 651-5899. At Quartermoon, they are experts at worst-case scenarios. Big job, small job, residential or commercial. Their service trucks are fully stocked and they have all the equipment needed for any job. At Quartermoon, they are green certified. They have an A+ ranking with the Better Business Bureau. They do not have commission sales reps. If you're dealing with a plumbing emergency, an emergency with your AC, you call Quartermoon right away. But think about your heater. It's not time to turn that thing on, but when it is, you want to make sure it's working. Quartermoon has great maintenance programs that ensures your unit is ready for every season. Call them, have them check out your heater, make sure it's ready to go for the winter. Quartermoon Plumbing, Heating, and AC, 210-651-5899, 651-5899, or online, quartermoonplumbing.com.
Score $1,000 now. Enter the winning keyword, COOL. COOL. Cool at sasportstar.com. Good luck from San Antonio Sports Star. ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
At Manrique Custom Vision, you'll find some people just aren't good candidates for Z-LASIK. That's why they have different technologies for different patients. They are a custom vision center focused on helping people get rid of their glasses and contacts. Rudy J here. Call them today for a complimentary consultation to see what's right for you. Financing is offered to all, FSA and medical spending accounts accepted. Get treated like family by Dr. Manrique. Call 354-2020 for the Manrique difference. That's 354-2020.
Kane Brown, Blessed and Free Tour. Saturday, October 16th, AT&T Center. Special guests, Jordan Davis and Restless Road. See the meteoric rise of Kane Brown live. Tickets are on sale now at KaneBrownMusic.com. Presented by AEG Presents.
Howdy, San Antonio. Chip Ingram from the Roo Pub and the Angry Elephant, inviting you to come out and enjoy patio season. We have newly remodeled patios, garage doors, and everything else you need to enjoy this great South Texas weather. As always, ice cold beer and specialty drinks. Happy hours daily from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. And our kitchen is open from 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. See you soon at the Roo Pub and the Angry Elephant at 281 and Redland Road.
Prescription products require an online consultation. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information.
Think you might have ED? Not sure? Well, we'd like to let you in on a little secret. ED is common. About 40% of men experience ED by age 40, but the solution is simple. Find it at 4hims.com.
I didn't have to talk to a doctor in person. There was no copay, and the medication was shipped right to my door in discreet packaging.
Hims took care of it, fast and easy. Now our love life is better than ever.
Get access to doctors online who can prescribe you FDA-approved ED medication if appropriate. The same active ingredient as name brands, but 90% cheaper. Skip the waiting rooms and pharmacy lines. Get a free medical consultation and rise to the occasion or your money back. Go to 4hims.com/radio to get your first visit free. No copay required. The only way to get this special offer is to go to 4hims.com/radio. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
Twin Peaks is adding one of the most well-kept secrets in all the beer community to select Texas drink menus. Yes, Yuengling Traditional Lager is here. Starting August the 11th, participating Twin Peaks lodges will serve that coveted Northeastern Premium Lager at a perfect 29 degrees. In addition to its scenic views and those made-from-scratch menus, Yuengling Traditional Lager pairs perfectly with Twin Peaks Nashville Hot Chicken and, oh, those hand-smashed and seared burgers and those great new loaded fries. Twin Peaks eats, drinks, and oh, those scenic views.
The top teams, the thundering dunks, the last second shots.
Fade away three, go!
Get the latest NBA preseason news, opinions, and analysis on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Don't mind the brake lights. We'll get you there. San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN, AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. I'm Jason Minix. Glad to have you along on this Wednesday afternoon. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, you just get to enjoy James Pledger for the next couple of minutes while my iPad decides it needs to reboot. Sometimes that just happens. You know, they
Probably
can't
need some updates too.
It might, but doesn't that stuff happen in the middle of the night? You know, and then you're just supposed to wake up and everything is going to be a little bit different than when you went to bed. You know.
Remember Brian Windhorst? It's always when you least need it to happen.
Well, that's part of it. I mean, you know, when you least need it to happen at 5 o'clock in the afternoon or 4:52 as we sit right now, although it was a quick read. At least it kind of crapped the bed during the commercial break. I mean, at least it went until we went to break, and then anyway, we've got it fixed now. You know, on Monday, didn't Nagy say that if Andy Dalton gets healthy, Andy Dalton's going to be the starting quarterback?
That he did.
That was on Monday. Now, I don't know when the Bears have their player day off, if it's Tuesday or Monday, whenever they have that player day off. Every team does it a little bit different. But Nagy said today that Justin Fields is the starting quarterback moving forward. What happened between Monday's press conference and today's press conference? I mean, if you think about it, what happened? I mean, you look at it and you sit there and say, Nagy, you look like a bigger idiot every time you open the press conference up. I mean, you heard him after the game, and I don't want to just copy what you heard from Greeny over the weekend or Monday when I was listening to Greeny, but his post-game press conference after the win Sunday was about as dumb as it probably ever has been, because, you know, he admitted that he wasn't play calling without admitting it, but he tried to emphasize the importance of what he is as the head coach. It was dumb. I don't understand what he was trying to do, justify his existence, but he was. And then he says Monday that, you know, when Andy Dalton is healthy, Andy Dalton is going to be the quarterback of the Bears. Well, no Bear fan wants to hear that. And, you know, but maybe he was listening to ESPN 1000 on his way home and thought, yeah, those guys on the radio are always smarter, right? Always smarter. So I better listen to them. Justin Fields, you're going to start the rest of the way. Just don't ruin them. See, down in Jacksonville, you almost feel like Urban Meyer is ruining Trevor Lawrence. If that's possible, he is certainly stunting the growth of Trevor Lawrence. Because while Trevor said today he still respects his head coach, well, what do you expect him to say? I mean, honestly, what did you expect him to say when asked, hey, what'd you think of Urban at the bar over the weekend? What'd you think of his apology? Urban said he apologized again today to his team. He's continuing the Own and Apologize tour. He's not long for that job. So, next year, who's going to be the next head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars? What system are they going to run? And what are they going to do? I mean, in a lot of ways, what Trevor is going through is what Baker Mayfield, or what Trevor appears like he's going to go through, looks like the path that Baker Mayfield went on, where he had a new head coach every year in a new system, and people wondered why he struggled, why he was having trouble grasping everything. It's going to be interesting to see how that certainly plays out. I saw Bovada put out some odds about what will happen first. Jacksonville wins their first game, Urban Meyer resigns or gets fired, or his wife files for divorce. You can take odds on that. Seriously, I'm not making that up. What happens first? Wife files for divorce. That lady ain't leaving. I mean, that lady. I mean, if you follow Urban Meyer's track record, Miss Meyer's put up with a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. Co-ed dancing on her husband's lap at a bar on a Saturday night, that's nothing. That's nothing. She ain't leaving him over that. She's not. Go smart money. Hey, the big score is back, and I just saw somebody post on our Facebook Live. Where do you find it? We're giving you a chance to win $1,000 with San Antonio Sports Star's Big Score. You can tune in every weekday, 7 in the morning till 7 at night. Listen for the keyword. Then when you hear the keyword, go to sasportstar.com and enter that keyword. Listen, enter, win. It is really that simple. Apparently, I have to tell you, rules and contest details are at sasportstar.com. When you go to SA Sports Star, it says it right there. Big score. That's where you win your $1,000. It says big score. Listen for your chance to win $1,000. So just look for the big score when you go there. And as I'm on the page now, I know it can't rotate, but it's the first thing up there. Right below it, Grilling with the Blitz. $50 gift card is up for grabs every Thursday with Grilling with a Blitz. So if you've been doing any grilling, you want to take a picture of that meat on your grill, upload it at sasportstar.com for your chance to win a $50 gift card to Tri-County Meat Market. And you know, if you're going to fire up the grill, you need to get into Tri-County Meat Market, one of their 2 great locations, because that great meal starts with great meat. Tri-County Meat Market is locally owned and full service. They have carefully selected certified prime Angus beef cuts, Wagyu, and upper choice. They even have their own Tri-County Meat Market homegrown Wagyu. You talk about farm to fork Wagyu. They've teamed up with Dean and Peeler Premium Meats out of Floresville for more locally sourced meats. They've got your chicken. They've got your pork. They've got the fajitas. They got the poppers. They've got everything you need at Tri-County Meat Market. Take advantage of their Pick 5 for $25 that is every day. And if you're military or first responder, you get a 10% discount. Tri-County Meat Market has 2 locations, one on Ralph Fair Road, the other on Huebner, or online at tricountymeat.com.
Football in America is a special game, a unique game played like nowhere else on earth. It's a rare game, and the men that play it make it so. Lamb, Smith, Martin, and Coach Mike McCarthy. And today these men walk the gridiron with one thing in common, with one mission between them: winning. The Dallas Cowboys play here on the home of the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network. San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
COVID is spiking again, and it's just not clear how to keep your family safe. Fever is the leading symptom of COVID, and the only way to reliably detect it is with an accurate thermometer. Be vigilant and be accurate with the Exergen temporal scanner, whose accuracy has been proven in more than 100 clinical studies. Non-contact thermometers are proven to be inaccurate and will not reliably detect a fever that might mean COVID. Learn more at Exergen.com.
Jay Farner here, CEO of Rocket Companies. If you thought you missed your chance to refinance and save, Think again. Mortgage rates have recently dropped below 3%, and Rocket Mortgage can help you save big. You could lower your monthly payment and prepare yourself for a better financial future. But you've got to act now. Call us today at 833-8ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Conditions apply. Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states. NMLSconsumeraccess.org number 3030.
Did you know that United Healthcare helps connect you to doctors and therapists with 24/7 access to virtual care?
So I could have therapy from my couch?
Yep.
Or a doctor appointment from my car?
If you wanted to.
Wait, you're right. I don't even like when people see me sing in the car. Couch appointment it is. Virtual visits are just one of the ways United Healthcare helps connect you to better health. Learn more at uhc.com. Plan benefits may vary.
Your source to local news and sports in San Antonio begins with the San Antonio Express News. We've collected, written, and shown the stories that matter most to San Antonio. Look no further than the San Antonio Express News to continue to provide information and strength to the community. Whether it's on the field or on a court, we provide the ground local coverage. Go to expressnews.com for the most up-to-date high school and college sports coverage. Subscribe today at expressnews.com.
Great news, Slackers! Slackers Sports and Arcade Bar is now opening at noon 7 days a week at all 4 area locations. North Star, St. Mary's, Slackadochis, and the Medical Center. Slackers is the home for 7-day-a-week happy hour, now starting at noon every day. And by popular demand, Slackers brings back the signature frozen drinks. Bring a date, bring a crew, or come on down solo. Slackers Sports and Arcade Bar serves you up all your favorites and quenches your thirst 7 days a week, starting every day at noon. Visit slackersbarssa.com for more info.
This is the home of the Cowboys, Rangers, and Aggie football. KZDC, San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN, AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. Jason Minix, the Blitz.
It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN, AM 1250, 94.5 FM. I'm Jason Minix. James Pledger producing. James Pledger so wants to hit the breaking news sounder, and he hits it late.
This is breaking news from San Antonio Sports Star.
Like Jalen Smith, little slow on the reaction, but Jalen Smith making news today. He got fired by the Cowboys yesterday. Just after 7 o'clock is when it started making the rounds. So about 22 hours later, Jalen Smith apparently has a new job, and he's going to have to wear yellow pants. It does appear that Jalen Smith is finalizing a deal with the Green Bay Packers. I'm not surprised. I thought Packers, I thought Chargers. We talked about it earlier. It makes sense for those two teams that are going after it. You know, you look at Jalen, and LaFleur was at Notre Dame when he was there. They know each other. There's something there, and that team needs to help. You know, I see what the Packers are doing, and they're able to get them cheap because the Cowboys are paying them all that money. But they're saying, we are trying to win right now. Aaron Rodgers trying to win right now. Hey, Aaron. Hey, you sure you want to leave? I mean, you know, after that first game, everything looked bad. Everything's looked good since. Now we're helping the defense because that's another target for Aaron. Oh, wait, no. But it does help the defensive side of the ball there with the Green Bay Packers. I look at what Carolina is doing. You know, early this morning, Stephon Gilmore is going to get released by the New England Patriots. No, wait a minute. The Patriots, they were able to get a 6th-round pick out of the Carolina Panthers. If Gilmore can return close to form, that's a hell of a pickup. That's Carolina saying we're trying to win right now. That and the other trade that they made. I mean, name a team out there that is comfortable with all their defensive backs. They're not. Carolina, they've got a new GM who's been very aggressive on the trade market, but what they're saying is we are trying to win right now. Jaylon Smith becomes available. We're not going to trade for him. That's ridiculous with that contract, but we'll pick him up. We'll offer him. We'll go there. It's an interesting 24 hours in the NFL, and it's no surprise that he's got a job that fast. And I think part of it, too, is when you follow the storyline, and we'll talk about it coming up at 5:30 with Jane Slater from the NFL Network. We know that the Cowboys tried to trade him in the offseason, but they couldn't. He had that injury guarantee money, and he had that wrist surgery. They tried to trade him this year. According to many reports, the Cowboys have been very aggressive in trying to trade at Jalen Smith this year. They found no takers because of the contract. The injury guarantee in his contract next year at $9.2 million. They tried to get Jalen Smith to rework his deal and take that out. By all accounts, they didn't ask him to take less money. They didn't ask him to do anything except take out that injury guarantee. Because if he has any kind of off-season injury or end-of-season cleanup surgery, he wouldn't pass his NFL physical in March, which would trigger that 9.2 guarantee. Cowboys weren't willing to risk it. They were not. So for a guy that told you that he wanted to be a Dallas Cowboy for life, a guy that spent about $500,000 of his own money this offseason to change his jersey from 54 to 9 because he wanted to be a Dallas Cowboy for life, wouldn't take out one paragraph in his contract to be a Dallas Cowboy for life because he understands the business side of football. Jalen Smith is a smart guy. I think we all will agree on that. And he made a business decision, and the Cowboys made a business decision. And my guess is Jalen Smith's agent kicked some tires and called the Cowboys bluff. Cowboys released him, and he gets a job in less than a day. This isn't surprising, and this isn't overly quick. No different than, if Gilmore would have actually been released like the initial reports were, that he was going to get picked up right away. Or the receiver that was just released by the Houston Texans. And it's all contract stuff. It's math. It's that kind of crap that none of us want to think about. None of us could really, because we don't know all the rules. We don't know everything that is involved. But it does start to make a little bit of sense when you kind of follow the timeline, look at the various stories that are out there, and put it all together. This was all about a contract issue and then performance. His performance hasn't been bad. It just hasn't been as good as what they've seen in the past. And one of the reasons why that is because the Cowboys have figured out they've got other players that can get in there and do a good job. What they have done this year, in knowing that he's got that injury clause, is they have had him off the field more in the first 4 games of this season than the last 2 years combined. When I got into radio, they said there would be no math. But there is. 4 games this year, Jalen Smith has been on the bench for 116 defensive snaps. The previous 2 seasons, he was on the bench for a combined 110 snaps. He's watched more of his defensive teammates play this year in 4 games than the last 2 years combined. The Cowboys know they can win without Jalen Smith. They know that is the case. So when you factor that in with the contract and that injury guarantee, the decision is, Jalen, we love you, man, but you got to go.
I mean, there's multiple factors obviously that go into these decisions, and that's definitely the case with Jalen. Just a lot of things to go through, but at the end of the day, I had a chance to visit with him last night. Very thankful for my time with him here. Obviously, talked about his experience here in Dallas, and we just felt that this was the best time to make this decision. Obviously, there's not really ever a good time for these type of decisions, but basically just with all the factors involved is is why the decision was made yesterday.
And all those factors is the contract, everybody else is playing better. The great play of Micah Parsons maybe speeded up that timeline quite a bit. But think about this for a minute. Jalen Smith was a captain on Sunday's team. Mike McCarthy named him a captain for Sunday's game against the Carolina Panthers. You saw him and you've seen video of him getting that team fired up and ready to go. And you know damn well that the Cowboys knew this week they were going to make this move. They didn't have a meeting on Monday morning, Jerry trying to eat his breakfast sandwich with too much salt and say, yeah, let's look at Jalen's contract. Yeah, his number, let's cut. This has been in the works for a while. Now, Mike McCarthy was asked today, how long has it been in the works? Obviously, he wouldn't give us any specifics.
I mean, you're evaluating your roster all the time. I mean, we had an extensive personnel meeting yesterday, and and we talked through every single player on the roster, and so I mean frankly, that's a normal process. I'm sure every team goes through. It's just once again, it was a big picture roster move, and we felt this was the time to do it.
Why not the beginning of the season, Coach?
Well, I just think just like anything. I mean, there's always factors involved of how you build your 90-man roster. How you go through training camp and get to the 53 and the extended practice squad. So I mean, all those things are involved. Jalen's an excellent football player. I mean, like I said, there's other factors involved in this decision. I mean, he played good football for us. In my time with him, he totally bought into the new direction, the program, everything we've done. The guy practices every single day, plays his ass off. I have nothing but respect for him.
But that damn contract gots to go. Interesting. We'll talk more about it in about 20 minutes. Jane Slater from the NFL Network will join us, give you the latest on what she is learning from Jalen Smith. But the Spurs do play preseason game number 2 tonight. And when you think about the San Antonio Spurs and how great they looked in their preseason opener and blowing out the Utah Jazz, now they get to go on the road. And, the great part about the Spurs getting to go on the road, because that is a team that's 100% vaccinated. They get to go to dinner. They can leave the hotel. They get to do some normal things. That's going to be good. Think about the rookies last year, like Devin Vassell. Welcome to the NBA, Rook. You can't leave your hotel. But what are you looking for in preseason game number 2? Devin Vassell struggled in that first preseason game. Are we going to see more of Josh Primo? What about Jakob? That's somebody that Greg Popovich wants to see.
Well, he gets more confident every year, but we've only played one preseason game, so you should ask me that 15 or 20 games into the season.
Right now, I mean, just in his body of work with you guys.
Well, okay, that's a different question. From the day he got here, he's become more comfortable in understanding how we play. He did a good job in Toronto, and he's done a good job here as far as knowing what his main strengths are, and that's rebounding, running the floor, protecting the rim. He's just getting more and more attuned to being more consistent in all those areas. So he's just becoming better and better in what his role is more than anything. We just hope that our guys will throw him the ball a little bit more this year, so they can move off of him. He can score a little bit. He actually scored when he was in college, so he has that ability. We just haven't really used that. So I like to see him get more involved offensively.
That's interesting, because didn't Pop say that about Jakob last year? Isn't that one of the reasons Jakob re-signed? Because Pop said you were going to be more involved, and now Pop's saying, you got to throw him the ball some. I mean, he did score in college. I mean, there are times where you see glimpses of it. And I think with this I don't want to put it on DeMar and say with DeMar gone and taking the ball, we're going to see how this offense is going to flow. And the other night against Utah in the first preseason game, the offense flowed tremendously. You looked at the assist numbers to the made field goals and you go, yeah, you'll take that every night. They were dominant on the boards. It helped that Utah missed a lot of shots that allowed them to be dominant on the boards, but you saw the sharing of the basketball. You see that. And then you saw the young players like Primo coming to the game like a rock star and ultimately delivered. No nerves. Now you get to go on the road and you get to play in Detroit. I don't know if we're going to see him. I don't know if we're going to see Thad Young. Pop in his pregame that happened just minutes ago was asked, probably by Tom Orsborn of the San Antonio Express News, about Thad Young, who did not get a single minute in preseason game number 1.
Thad, he's a pro. He's been around. He's a leader. He's a pro. He knows how to play. He's all about professionalism.
And maybe I'm surprised he's still with San Antonio. And I say that I'm surprised he actually showed up in San Antonio, but he is a pro. Everything you've heard from this guy has been professional. And I think he realizes he's not here long. I don't even know if he rents. I think he's crashing at somebody's house, or he's over at the extended stay on I-10 or the one over there in the medical center. As long as he's not in that Marriott over there in the medical center, the one by the Taco Cabana, that might be the worst Marriott on planet Earth. But you look at it, non-luxury hotel, that's for sure. You look at Thad Young, and there's some reports that he could end up in Phoenix. And I could certainly see that. But what he does offer for a lot of these young guys is another veteran perspective. DeMar offered that to him. Patty Mills certainly offered that to him. But it'd be interesting to see Thad Young, a well-traveled guy, the veteran expertise that he'll be able to offer up the young San Antonio Spurs. And then, of course, you got Primo. Primo, says James Pledger. James Pledger, the king of playing to the video if you're watching on Facebook Live or on the YouTube channel. Primo. I just think it's a tongue twister for Schoening. I really do. I mean, it's transition. You're going. You're in the midst of the play-by-play. It's tough. Primo. But again, that kind of makes it tough to say. I mean, you've got to practice that, because that's one of those that as you get them together and you're talking really fast, they could get tied up and come out completely different. It might get you fired. I mean, you've got to be very careful of using certain words or phrases in broadcasting, because you might say things and you hear it and you go, what did he just say? As a Navy guy, when you talk about a Navy ship, there are a lot of times if you're just saying, yeah, that ship over there, are you saying what, some people might hear something else. That you know what I mean? So you gotta kind of be careful with that. You keep drinking out of this Silver Bullet mug. What are you drinking? Well, I mean, I
got water.
I just see it's 518. I know you still sucks.
It does.
But you've got a new Longhorn cup that you're drinking out of. I haven't seen that one before. It's a Coors Light Longhorn mug, because on Saturday morning from 9 to 11, R&R is working 6 days this week. They're going to be at Ojos. They're going to be at Ojos Loco. So there's no Saturday morning hangover.
Well, I guess I'm probably working the board for that.
You don't have to. Make Carl come in and run that board. I mean, you need the total team effort from R&R in the morning.
I mean, that's true.
There is no reason
for R&R.
There is no reason for you not to set your Coors Light alarm clock, wake up, hit that thing, and grab yourself a beer. If you're watching online, there is a Coors Light alarm clock that's got a cooler in it. So when your alarm goes off on a game day morning, you've got your first cold beer ready to go. I mean, you hear the promo guy say all the time, you can't drink all day if you don't start when you wake up. And nothing like waking up. You roll out of bed and you've got a cold beer right there for you as a part of your alarm clock. So you can get up, watch a little game day, then head over to Ojos Locos. Now, they're there from 9 to 11, but Ojos Locos opens at 11. And part of that, there's, Rob Thompson, he threw around a little bit of muscle on this deal and said, you realize I'm an Aggie. You realize we've lost a couple games in a row. You realize we're playing Alabama. I'll love going to Ojos Locos. Get the shrimp tacos. But I don't know if I could be in there surrounded by burnt orange. So, I'll do the show from 9 to 11, and then you can let people come in at 11 o'clock. And when you're out there, you're going to be able to possibly win one of those Coors Light alarm clocks. You could possibly get some of those Coors Light Texas Longhorn cups. You could possibly get one of those koozies that James Pledger is showing you on the video screen. All of that available to you Saturday morning for a Saturday version of R&R in the morning at Ojos Locos with Coors Light as they get you ready for the Red River Shootout, which has that wonderful 11 a.m. kickoff, Texas and Oklahoma. Casey Thompson, who grew up rooting for Oklahoma, now gets to go kick their ass. Spencer Rattler, I think every Longhorn fan needs to learn to chant Caleb. Whether Oklahoma fan does it this week or not, Spencer won't know where it's coming from. Just start chanting Caleb, and he'll think it's his friends, again, calling him out, looking for the backup quarterback.
I read an interesting story today about Casey Thompson, his dad playing for OU, obviously taking that OU team to a national championship. He had people at school telling him they would never root for him again if he ended up at Texas. And the times that he's had to transfer out of Texas after not getting the starting job, especially this year to start the year, but he remained committed and wanted to prove it. That's a different type of mentality in today's world where the transfer portal is a real thing available to players that want to play immediately.
And again, I mean, I'm not so sure. I'm not necessarily a fan, but I don't hate the transfer portal. And I'm mixed, kind of like everybody else. If we get a transfer in, I'm excited about it. If we lose a guy, I'm pissed off that that's available. I mean, it is the double-edged sword. It's who's working the transfer portal and who isn't. I like that the fact that the players have options. I've always thought it was stupid that a coach could get fired and or quit and move on to another job, but a player can't. There's just so much to it. That's not a 4-year scholarship. You got to renew that thing every year. So there's no guarantee there either. So interesting thing with the old transfer portal. Couple quick other NBA notes before we get to James Slater from the NFL Network. Ben Simmons is missing his money already.
Shocker.
Well, look, I mean, you look at Wiggins. He wants to create generational wealth. He talked about that. Finally decided to get vaccinated. Ben Simmons, who's willing to hold out, skip camp, pay all the fines, until he saw money leaving his account from that escrow thing going, holy cow. I mean, you look at that and you go, wait a minute, what the hell is going on? Either didn't think Philly would actually fine him, but when he loses that money and he doesn't get it back, his agents said that was a little bit more than we thought. Well, dude, the math is easy. You shouldn't have been surprised. I just look at that and go, man, Ben Simmons, man, it hasn't even been a month. I mean, this is kind of reminding me of when DeAndre Hopkins held out for breakfast, but was back at practice at lunch when he realized he wasn't going to get a new deal from the Houston Texans. I wonder if Ben Simmons shows up to work now that he realizes what $300,000 leaving your account for not working looks like compared to getting $300,000 in your account for showing up, along with all the other fines and everything that goes with it. That was interesting. And the preseason game last night in Memphis. So on Monday, we had a Monday night football game and a weather delay inside of a dome stadium because it's more like a carport. Apparently the sides are open. So they had the weather delay in Los Angeles. last night in Memphis, a game was called in the third quarter because somebody pulled the fire alarm. It kind of reminds me back when old Bob Ferry with Washington turned the lights out. Danny Ferry has confirmed that did happen. Danny Ferry had to go pull it because his dad said, hey, man, we're going to lose to the Spurs, man. Shut out the lights. Let's pull the power. They canceled the game because of a fire alarm. There was no smoke. Although if you're watching on TNT, and I was not, but I saw the video clip of it, Harlan goes, well, Stan Van Gundy, you said you smelled smoke. He said, well, I thought I did at the time. Maybe it was just, because I heard the fire alarm. Is that smoke I smell? Uh-huh. Go with that. What a bizarre way to have a preseason game canceled. Yeah, fire alarms. I mean, we've had water cannons in San Antonio, so we can't talk, but it is kind of interesting for the start of the NBA season, the preseason.
Anybody else smell burnt toast?
Cinnamon?
Is that cinnamon?
That's Fireball. Very different. Very, very, very different. We'll get the latest on Jaylon Smith from Jane Slater when she joins us next here on the Blitz. But first, let me tell you about Ancira Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram truck, part of the Ancira Itonato complex. It is very easy for me to tell you about and recommend Ancira because I am a longtime Ancira customer. Through the years, I've bought many vehicles from Ancira, including one that I'm driving now, my daughter's car, my niece's car, and it's because of their great customer service before, during, and most importantly, after the sale. They're going to make sure you're getting the vehicle you want with all the options and features that you're looking for. They'll give you great value on your trade-in, the best rebates and financing options that are available. And price made Ancira number one. Price keeps Ancira number one. So think Ancira. Ancira Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram truck, part of the Ancira Itonato complex on I-10 West between Wurzbach and Huebner. Let's get a Sports Center update from James Pledger.
Thanks a lot, Jason. If you missed our breaking news at the top of the hour, Jaylon Smith, less than 24 hours after being waived by the Dallas Cowboys, the former Pro Bowl linebacker and second-round pick of the Cowboys now has a new home. As according to Ian Rappaport, the NFL Network, he's finalizing a deal with the Green Bay Packers. In other Cowboy news, cornerback Trayvon Diggs, a week after being named the Defensive Player of the Month for the month of September, has now been named the Defensive Player of the Week for his Week 4 performance against the Carolina Panthers in a 36-28 win, in which he had 4 tackles, 2 passes defense, and 2 interceptions in the win. The Houston Texans have released wide receiver Anthony Miller just a few months after trading for him, as he had just 5 catches for 23 yards and a touchdown in 2 games with Houston, who ended up trading a 5th-round pick to Chicago for him back in July for Miller in a 7th. In the NBA, the San Antonio Spurs, who are 1-0 to start the preseason, return to action again tonight as they're in Detroit to take on the Pistons. Tip-off for that game's coming up in about half an hour at 6 o'clock. And speaking of the Spurs, they've agreed to an Exhibit 10 deal with Denzel Mahoney, an undrafted 6'5" wing from Creighton who averaged over 12.5 points while shooting 32% from 3 this past season. I'm James Pledger.
ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
The marriage is over. You know it. Your friends know it. So why fight? Call DivorceDude.com at 210-201-0303 and ask for Mark, the Divorce Dude, with Polling Law PLLC. DivorceDude.com can help you get a fast, affordable, agreed divorce. But if you want to fight, the DivorceDude.com can fight for you. DivorceDude.com gives you easy legal options and sticks with you every step of the way. If the marriage is over, why fight? DivorceDude.com.
Jason Minix here for Alamo Water Softeners. Whether your home is a new build or an older home, Alamo Water Softeners has a water treatment bundle with special pricing to give your home the highest quality water treatment available. Choose from several bundles, including the Premier Whole Home Bundle. Get a free standard gas or electric water heater when you purchase a select top-of-the-line water softener, plus 1 filter and reverse osmosis system. Go to AlamoWaterSofteners.com. That's AlamoWaterSofteners.com.
This is Rob Thompson for BetUS.com. My sportsbook, it should be your sportsbook. You ask why? Well, BetUS has been America's favorite sportsbook for over 25 years. You need a sportsbook with integrity and longevity. You need to know that you're going to get paid, and that is BetUS.com. You also need a sportsbook that has everything you want to lay money on: live betting, MMA, golf, and everything else, including all those great prop bets. The number you need is 1-800-79-BET-US. Call them and say KZDC and get 200% in bonuses. That's KZDC. BetUS, where the game begins.
Sports.
Pro football season's here, and pro roofers save valuable time with Beacon Pro Plus. Beacon Pro Plus works 24/7 for material ordering, order history, and automated promotion tracking, so you can get your favorite GAF roofing products even when working remotely. And now, order on Beacon Pro Plus and get a $175 gift card and a chance for a VIP pro football getaway. Gear up and raise your game with Beacon Pro Plus today. Build, score, and win at BECN.com.
The whole goal is to point people to something bigger.
What if the news was different and covered more than one side of the story? Not just the who or the what, but the why. What if it took you closer?
It's information and people want it.
So you can make up your own mind. What if the news lets you think for yourself? Introducing the new point of view, yours. Newsy. Watch Newsy free on your TV. Learn more at newsy.com.
Still looking for that one special voice that makes you fall in love with podcasts? The one is out there and free on Spotify. With over 2 million shows and today's most talked about podcasts, Spotify is the best place to find that one special show that makes you laugh, keeps you interested, and keeps you listening for more. Whatever you're into, get way more into it with a podcast. Find the one you've been listening for right now, free on Spotify.
Injuries happen, so if you twist, pull, pop, or snap something, you need Dr. David Espinosa at TSAOG Orthopedics. Dr. Espinosa treats all non-surgical orthopedic injuries and has same-day and next-day availability. Telemedicine services are also available. There is no reason to be in pain. If you are hurting, visit Dr. David Espinosa at TSAOG Orthopedics. Learn more at TSAOG.com. That's TSAOG.com, or schedule your appointment by calling 210-804-5490.
Happy Hour is back at Twin Peaks, and we're offering up more than just great drinks. Score yourself some chips and salsa for just $2. Your choice of mozzarella cheese bites, chips and queso, or fried pickles, where they're just $4. And the triple play quesadillas or 6 boneless wings, that's right, only $6. Each of these epic appetizers are craveable, shareable, and delicious. And what a deal. Happy Hour at Twin Peaks just got better. See you Monday through Friday, 2 to 7 p.m. Again at late night. Get to Twin Peaks, eats, drinks, and those scenic views.
This is The Blitz with Jason Minix and the brightest sports insiders. San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
It's been an interesting couple hours out at the Star up there in Frisco. Started last night just after we got done at 7 o'clock and has continued all day. It is The Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. I'm Jason Minix. Jane Slater from the NFL Network has been all over the Jaylon Smith release. Jane, appreciate the time as always as you join us every Wednesday. And man, we got a lot to unpack from what's happened over the last 24 hours or so.
Yeah, and it looks like Jalen Smith is siding with the Green Bay Packers, according to some reports on Twitter right now. So that's interesting.
It is. And, you know, it's what I find interesting is I thought, all right, where is he going to end up? And it's with teams that wear yellow pants. I thought he'd either end up in Green Bay or with the LA Chargers. I think he's a good fit in both of those defenses, and they need him.
I think it all comes down to what is his position going to be? What are they asking of him? And can he take a role in the locker room that doesn't require it to be his defense? I think that's where he sort of started rubbing people the wrong. I mean, before Sean Lee was even out the door, he was claiming it was his defense, you know? And so I think that's why it was easy for a lot of people to take shots at him for the celebration and the talking about his business, and just didn't feel like there was enough we sometimes. It was a lot of I. And I know that can sound unfair, and I don't want to dance on his grave as he's out the door, but I'll be interested to see how he works in another system.
It is going to be interesting to follow. Now, you know, there was a lot of that I know, especially with the way he played last year, which we know was not good, and fans were all over him. And then the contract, and Jerry took a lot of abuse for that contract when Jalen signed it. But he was a captain for Sunday's game against Carolina. How I guess that Mike McCarthy's got a pretty good gauge on his locker room. to know they could make this move and not disrupt the locker room on a 3-game win streak. But listening to some of the guys talking today, and you were there hearing them, it seems like a lot of guys were surprised and not happy with the decision.
What do I say to that? I would say that, yes, he's going to be missed because he's been there for 6 years, but I think this locker room will be just fine moving on. And that's all.
Fair enough. No, that's fair enough. I mean, I think that's all that needs to be said because, when I hear, Zeke and Micah, and I thought Micah gave a brilliant answer. You're welcome to the NFL moment. Leighton, I'm like, all right, well, I mean, was he more liked in that locker room than I thought? But I think your answer there is everything that I need to say. And I think we need to also point out that.
And I want to point out, I mean, he of course he had friends in the locker room. Of course,
sure.
There were people that liked Jalen, but I think sometimes there was a lot of talk and not enough action. And I think that's what the front office saw. And I think what some of his teammates saw at times. And so, look, we've all had coworkers, I've had them in the past, who have said, I'm the team captain, I'm the team leader, and maybe they're not doing everything that says it. No one's going to ever question that Dak Prescott is the team leader. Like, that is, it's because of how he operates on the field, off the field. He'll outwork you. And so I think that that's what people have to remember is there's a lot of people that say there's something and then they're not. And maybe when this team really needed Jalen to be that guy last year, he wasn't at times. And so I think all of that factors into this, coupled with, the poor play, trying to find trade partners for him. Then he went and had this wrist surgery that triggered that immediate $7.2 million guarantee. So they were on the hook for it. And he could have said this offseason, I need another cleanup surgery. Well, you can't argue with that if it's part of the contract. But then they're going to owe him another $9.2 million. And if they put him out in the field, they were going to have to, deal with the possibility of him getting injured and having to pay the 9.2. And so I was, answering, because my thought was, I mean, you went ahead and you went 4 games this season. Why not put Elf on the shelf there? And if COVID or injuries happen, you can activate him. But when a guy thinks he's a leader of the defense, he's a captain on Sunday, and he's not active during games, that could potentially create a bigger mess and affect the morale more than making this cut down in the season. And I think the message that this sends, and I would argue that back in 2016, the message with Tony Romo is, if we're paying you this, we expect you to be this. And if you're not a guy that is as close to the Jones family as Tony Romo was, if they can say goodbye to him and they can say goodbye to Dez and DeMarco Murray and DeMarcus Ware, to think that Jaylon Smith wasn't safe, people weren't reading the tea leaf.
They weren't, including Jalen, who spent about $500,000 buying out all the 54s from the pro shop so he could change to number 9. I mean, you look at it, and then you look at the production this year. While he's been better this year than he was last, he's also hasn't been on the field like he has been in the past, and the Cowboys have proven this defense can be really good with number 9 on the sidelines.
Well, and that was by design. He was actually on the field less through 4 games than he was in the last 2 seasons combined. And that's because I was told the front office didn't want him playing because if he got hurt, they were going to pay him $9.2 million. And so, honestly, I don't know how good he would have been if we had seen him play more, but it should tell you everything you need to know that they were trying to shop him around last year and aggressively trying to do it 2 weeks, how ready they were to move on from him. And so, and they even went to him and tried to get him to waive the injury clause, the guaranteed portion of his contract. And he said, no. In fact, I was told he refused to do it. So now with another team picking him up, there's some offset language in it. So let's assume the Packers pick him up. The Cowboys can actually recoup a little money here. And so we've given these Cowboys all sorts of grief, and deservedly so, over the years for getting themselves into deals. And while he had a great year before he'd gone to the Pro Bowl and he got this contract extension, I want to take fans back to what was going on at that time. Ezekiel Elliott was holding out. He was trying to get a contract done 2 years early. And the message from the front office was, we're open 24/7, 365, ready to make deals. And look, we just made one. And I always thought that the Jalen deal was sort of a prop to show Zeke and the camp sort of call their bluff. And then this one kind of blew up in their faces, but then it didn't, in the sense that, what I just said, yeah, they're on the hook for 7.2, but they'll be able to recoup some of that with the fact that another team picked them up.
Very true. Jane Slater from the NFL Network joining us here on the Blitz. You look at the Cowboys besides the Jalen news today, which obviously is dominating all the headlines. That was an impressive win over Carolina, more so than what the final score showed. They've got a Giants team coming in, a good NFC East game. Was there good talk today around the facility about what they've got coming up Sunday to extend this win streak?
Honestly, we didn't clearly talk a lot about this matchup. I mean, if they go 4-1, that'll be their first time to do that since 2016, when that team was special and this team feels special. And it's, tying it back a little bit to the Jalen thing, Leighton Vander Esch said that Dan Quinn read a letter from Jaylon Smith to the locker room that essentially said that, I know you guys are building something special and I want you guys to go get it all. So a little bittersweet there. But this team is, Amari Cooper was the one who said it on Sunday that he thought this team was doing something special. And if you look at the way this offense and defense is clicking, and like I said, I think they're going to be just fine without Jalen Smith, moving forward. They're making the moves, I think, that help them. Because again, if they had kept him in there, he is a pro the way he handled this thing. Nobody wants to. I mean, would you want to do that, Jason, with your contract? What if they brought in a new young guy and they're like, Jason, we're afraid if we put you on the airwaves, you're a liability, but we're going to keep you around here in case we do remote, and you're going to be back here in studio, and we expect you to be okay with that and still be a rah-rah guy. Like, it wasn't going to happen. And so I think the front office is doing the right things for this team right now, and I think the players are doing the right thing. And then when we talk about this game with the Giants, of course, your divisional opponent is always going to play up. But this is a team that's allowing, I think, opposing offenses 24 points a game. This Cowboys team, particularly at home, is averaging 38.5 points per game. So I'd be hard-pressed to think that the Giants are going to be able to stop this team if the Carolina Panthers couldn't do it and the Chargers struggled with it. And I certainly put a lot more trust in Brandon Staley's defense than I do in Joe Judge's. But stranger things have happened. This would be one of those games, and I'm not a sports bettor and I'm not allowed to, that could be very interesting or intriguing for folks because I'll just take you back to last year when the Giants went on the road against Seattle with that defense.
Well, exactly, and they're coming off of a road win against the Saints, and for whatever reason, road teams have done pretty good this year. In fact, they have a winning record after 4 games on the road than home. There is no more home field advantage, which is odd.
Well, but I don't know what to make of that 27-21 overtime win against the Saints. The Saints were missing their corners, a wide receiver. They're still trying to figure out. I mean, this is not the Saints team from last year. So I don't know how much stock or credence I necessarily put into that one, other than the Superdome is a really, really tough place to play.
Very true. You look at the Cowboys offensive line and the way they were able to run the ball against Carolina, and I know who Carolina played, but statistically going into that game, they were number 1 against the rush. The way Terrence Steele has played at tackle, and I still have some issues with Tyler Biadasz at center, but reading today the Jory Epstein article in USA Today that La'el Collins has filed a request for a restraining order to get relief to get back on the field and get these other 2 games at least lifted for now. I'm looking at that saying, why do that? Terrence Steele is playing well enough. And if you somehow get a judge to do this, and I'm not a lawyer, but if you get a judge to do this and you lose, and the NFL then says you owe us 2 games that are going to be down the road, with Tyron Smith healthy right now and Terrence Steele playing well, are the Cowboys in favor of him doing this, trying to get those 2 games back, or just serve your sentence, and we'll deal with it when you get back.
This whole thing with Lyle is so frustrating to me because I like him as a player, but I've talked to people close to him, people in the organization. This was all him. The report that he, tried to bribe a testing administrator is what I couldn't tell you guys a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
And so since it's out there, I'll confirm it for you. And so what he's been trying to do is saying the process is unfair. That was the only appeal that he had left. He lost his initial appeal. And so to your point, this is no different than remember when Ezekiel Elliott did this, the temporary restraining order, the TRO, we talked about this ad nauseum. It ended up biting them. And to your point, if he can just get through these next 2 games, you've got Giants and then Patriots and then a bye week. Quit being so selfish. And I'm editorializing here, but it's because I just have so much information on this thing. Quit editorializing here, Jane, but I will.
You're fine. Do it. It's an opinion show.
Just take the suspension at this point. You did what you did. I was told he's lucky that they didn't throw the book at him harder. I mean, they could have suspended him for an entire year over that. I mean,
wow.
You were supposed to take a 2-game suspension. He signed off on that and then came back and said, no, I don't want to do that. I want to challenge it. And they're like, all right, here's 5. So you already created, and if I'm La'el Collins, I'm getting very concerned that because of some of the hiccups that you have had in recent years and the way that Terrence Steele is playing, that offensive line has been pretty darn good lately. And if you're not careful, that job may not be yours when you come back.
The business side of football, and we've seen it play out in Dallas over the last 24 hours. And again, because Terrence Steele has played so remarkably well, I'm in no hurry for LC to get back. And, as much as I love the guy, it's been a long time since Terrence Smith has played a full season. It's no if he gets hurt, it's when he gets hurt and has to miss time. And so then you could have LC on the left and Terrence Steele on the right. And if he somehow delays this and say those 2 games come around Thanksgiving when you've got Kansas City and the Raiders and that tough 3-game stretch, I mean, I just look at this and say, now's not the time, LC, to be doing this.
Just take your medicine and move on. And I don't know this for sure, but I would imagine there's some frustration from the Cowboys that they think maybe the league leaked some details. I can tell you the league did not leak details. How I heard about it was not through a league official. And when LC's camp started leaking the sort of woe is me narrative and the league knew what he did, I think that's where things got frustrated. So I'm like, why are we trying to be contentious here? So the whole thing is just, for me, maddening. Because again, I'm a huge La'el fan as a person. I think his teammates love him. But when I've got Ezekiel Elliott telling us today that the strength of this offense is the offensive line and you're missing one of your best players, that's not good for LC.
It's not. And they got, according to Pro Football Focus, 3 of the top 5 highest graded offensive linemen. I didn't think I'd see a Connor on that list in the top 5 this year, but we are. And they're playing well. Don't rock the boat. Jane Slater from the NFL Network. Always on your toes up there in Dallas, because that's the way the Cowboys like to keep you. Always appreciate the time. We'll catch up next week.
I was on my way to a concert when all of this happened. I mean, this beat is exhausting sometimes.
Oh, I get it. But you know what, though? You got the story. I saw you posting videos, and then I saw you at the concert last night at the House of Blues in Dallas. So, I mean, you managed to work hard and play hard. You lived the life, Jane.
Yes,
I can promise you that.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Good stuff.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Jane Slater from the NFL Network. Make sure you're following her on Twitter at Slater NFL. We get to talk to a Cowboys Hall of Famer coming up in about 15 minutes. Mel Renfro is going to join us as we continue here on the Blitz. Mel Renfro at 6 o'clock. Coming up next, let's talk about that home field advantage. There's some interesting numbers when it comes to home field in the NFL. Numbers that might surprise you. We'll talk about that when we come back. You know, nobody ever plans on getting arrested, but it does happen to a lot of people every day for all kinds of reasons. If you get arrested, you want to get out of jail fast, you know the best way to do that is to call my good friend Albert and his great staff at AA Best Bail Bonds. 210-225-2121 is the phone number. You could text the word bail to 474747 or even start the bonding process online at mybestbailbonds.com. You don't have to call attorneys or anybody else to get out of jail, and you don't want to be forced into a PR bond. If the jail offers you a PR bond, make sure you truly understand what those conditions are before accepting it. Your best option, AA Best Bail Bonds for stress-free bail bonds, because nobody beats their price. They have payment plans available, offer a free shuttle service. They're discreet and confidential and open 24/7 with offices all over San Antonio and Texas, services nationwide. So if you're up in Dallas, down in Corpus, in the Valley, anywhere in between, license number 149, call AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121 or online at mybestbailbonds.com.
For $1,000 now, enter the winning keyword, SCARE, SCARE, SCARE at sasportstar.com. Good luck from San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Golfers, it's time to tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shops with Mizuno irons and wedges. The JPX 921 Hot Metal Pro, Tour, and Forged irons offer Mizuno's fastest ball speeds ever. And the new T22 wedges feature 4 different sole grinds for varying techniques and conditions. Come in and get custom fit today. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee, and shop online at worldwidegolfshops.com.
Guys, stop what you're doing. Give me a few seconds of your time and let me give you a piece of advice that will change your love life forever. Have you noticed you've been losing a little pep in your step? Has your lady friend asked you, is everything okay? Do you find yourself having trouble rising for the occasion? Do you stress out before that special moment and wonder, is it gonna work? Guys, I'm going to let you in on a big secret. You don't ever have to worry again. The Mojo Male Enhancement Formula has you covered. Mojo is the 100% guaranteed male enhancement formula that guarantees lasting success, if you know what I mean. The Mojo Male Enhancement Formula is safe, natural, and effective every single time, guaranteed. Mojo is available in a fast-acting spray and a quick-action capsule. Do yourself and her a favor and call Pure Line Nutrition in San Antonio today. They'll get you set up for success. Call 210-494-2210. That number again is 210-494-2210. Mojo Male Enhancement, only available at Pure Line Nutrition.
Research shows that people remember radio ads with British accents. So to help you remember that Liberty Mutual Insurance Company customizes your home insurance so you only pay for what you need, take it from a Brit.
Oi! Barmy insurance blokes fetching dosh out your pocket. It's Barmy. Liberty Mutual won't leave you skint, mate.
Can you just say Liberty Mutual customizes your home insurance so you only pay for what you need?
I think that's what I said, you blooming.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty. O'Reilly.
Syntec is back and better than ever at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Syntec is a premium full synthetic motor oil option at an affordable price. Right now, get 5 quarts of Syntec full synthetic and a MicroGuard Select filter for just $31.99. Syntec is formulated for today's engines to minimize friction, heat, and wear. Try Syntec today exclusively at
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Do you have what it takes to be San Antonio's next sports star? Rock the Mic is back. The competition begins October 18th on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
This is Rudy J on your home for Cowboys football, San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. I'm Jason Minix. Mel Renfro, Hall of Famer, will join us coming up in a couple of minutes. The San Antonio Spurs about to tip off their second preseason game. The starting lineup Pop is going to roll with tonight: Derek White, Lonnie Walker, Keldon Johnson, Doug McDermott, and Jakob Poeltl. Looks like DeJounte is getting a rest night in Detroit. I know some of you thought that maybe Josh Primo would end up in the starting lineup this soon, but not yet. And no word if Josh Primo will get into the game unless they're up 20 into the second half of this one. Going to be interesting to see how it certainly plays out as the San Antonio Spurs going into preseason game number 2 after I think what we would all agree was a fairly impressive showing in a preseason game number 1. And you saw the carryover from practice, according to Pop, what they did in the game. They took a bunch of threes. They're going to continue to take a bunch of threes. I'm also curious to see if Thad Young gets any playing time tonight. He got a DNP in game 1. Pop's been high on the veteran professionalism that Thad Young has offered since he has come into San Antonio. And then, you look at tonight's game, I'm pretty sure for Pop, it's going to be more of the same. And that's what he wants to continue seeing is more of the same. The San Antonio Beer Festival is coming up on October 16th. We've got tickets that we're giving away for the 15th annual San Antonio Beer Festival. It's at Crockett Park on Saturday, October 16th, where you can sample over 400 craft and premium beers from over 100 local, regional, and worldwide breweries. You have to be 21 or older to go. You can get your tickets at sanantoniobeerfestival.com, or you can just dial up the Kia Bossa Bacon phone lines right now. 210-656-ESPN, 656-ESPN, 3776. That's the phone number to call if you want to be in honor of Jaylon Smith. Caller number 9 right now. Caller 9, you're going to get your tickets to the San Antonio Beer Festival coming up on October 16th. It was nice knowing you. Maybe you can go down there and pour one out for the career that is Jalen Smith with the Dallas Cowboys, as it looks like he's about to sign with the Green Bay Packers. That's what the reports are saying. Not a surprise. Excuse me. Not a surprise there. We'll talk more about the Jalen Smith release, the domino effects. Look ahead to the Giants game because obviously that is going to be big in a home field advantage. But coming up, always an honor to catch up with somebody that you watched when you were a kid. Hall of Famer Mel Renfro joins us next here on The Blitz. Looking forward to this. Stick around as we visit with the great Mel Renfro coming up here on The Blitz. But first, I want to tell you about Garageization. I moved into a new house in early 2020. The garage in this new house, not as big as what I had in the old house. I needed an organization solution because I have to park both cars in my garage and then all the other stuff that goes in your garage. And I was having a hard time finding what I liked, what I could afford, what I wanted to spend on organizing my garage. And then I found Garageization thanks to my neighbor. He found them. I liked what they did at his house. They came out to my house, and I was amazed at all the solutions that they offered. Ultimately, I had these incredible shelves installed that are the perfect fit for what I need. And on top, I've got, what I need for the long-term storage kind of items. But then they've got some what they call monkey bars underneath the shelf that you can hook things to, hang things from. If you got kids' bikes that you need to deal with, different tools, all that kind of stuff. So you're utilizing the space below. They're adjustable so you can move things around. You got that great versatility. I love how organized my garage is right now. Got one of those shelves right over the beer fridge, in that area where you go, well, that's a wasted space. It's not anymore inside my garage. If you need to organize your garage, call Garageization at 210-664-4494 or go to their website. The website is garageorganizationsanantonio.com. Go there, call them, ask about their shelves, overhead racks, closed storage, slat walls, which are very cool. Make your garage functional for the entire family. And don't forget about your floor either. Get that thing sealed for more reasons than just to make it look good. And Garageization, they know what they're doing, and they've been doing it for a long time, since 2008. They're a veteran-owned company. Garageization has been helping San Antonians love their garage since 2008. Call them and have them come out to your house and give you a customized plan for your garage. Go to the website, garageorganizationsanantonio.com. That's garageorganizationsanantonio.com.
The college football tradition lives here with in-depth analysis and breakdowns from our team during the week of the Aggies, the Longhorns, UTSA, and more. Catch the gridiron action on Saturdays with live play-by-play from around the country. Bowl season. Let's go! The college football playoff and the national championship comes to life right here.
Love it!
On San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Your source to local news and sports in San Antonio begins with the San Antonio Express News. We've collected, written, and shown the stories that matter most to San Antonio. Look no further than the San Antonio Express News to continue to provide information and strength to the community. Whether it's on the field or on a court, we provide the ground local coverage. Go to expressnews.com for the most up-to-date high school and college sports coverage. Subscribe today at expressnews.com.
Distracted driving doesn't give second chances. To see her first steps, see him scoring the winning touchdown, marrying the one you love, or celebrating 25 years of joy.
I'm Thomas J. Henry. Today, distracted driving is the #1 cause of catastrophic auto collisions and the end of life's dreams. It's best to put the phone down until you arrive or pull off the road safely.
San Antonio, Texas.
Not all pizza places are the same. Mellow Mushroom originated hand-tossed, stone-baked classic Southern pizza. Not in the mood for pizza? Order a calzone, hoagie, sandwich, burger, or a mellow salad and see how care goes into every item on the menu. Take your pick from 24 draft beers and or handcrafted cocktails. And many of the pizzas can be made gluten-free or vegan. Mellow Mushroom is at 1604 in Stone Oak Parkway. Hang with friends, watch the game, and mellow out at Mellow Mushroom.
You can talk keto all you want, but if you don't have a team of great tasting snacks behind you, you're not going to win the diet marathon. Southern Recipe small batch pork rinds have these big, bold flavors that kick your taste buds into high gear. Korean kimchi barbecue, pasilla chili cheese, spicy dill and more. Eat them right out of the bag or try them in your favorite recipes. You'll love this snack. Visit your local H-E-B and southernrecipesmallbatch.com to see the power of the rinds.
Southern Recipe pork rinds.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Hey, it's Rob with my good buddy Jack Overman from Service First AC Repair and Plumbing. Hey, Jack, when someone calls you for plumbing or an AC repair, can you fix it that day?
No sweat. With Service First AC Repair and Plumbing, we don't sweat the small stuff or the big stuff.
210 no sweat.
One team, one mission. KZDC, San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN, AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. Jason Minix, The Blitz.
It is The Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. You Cowboy fans better be glad you are listening right now because we get to talk to a legend. Hall of Famer Mel Renfro joining us now here on The Blitz. Mr. Renfro, how's your Wednesday evening going, sir?
Great. Really good.
Appreciate you taking the time. You know, it's always great to catch up with somebody that has that gold jacket. And growing up as a Cowboy fan, watching you play, and you know, one of our great sponsors here on the radio station. I'm a big fan of the Southern Recipe small batch pork rinds and everything that they do. And I got to know them years ago with Coach Mike Ditka's Gridiron Greats Assistance Fund. And a lot of times, you know, it's Super Bowls, they have the big party and a lot of attention is played. But I wanted to get you on now because, I mean, we are coming up on Pork Rind Appreciation Day, which is Super Bowl Sunday, and talk about Mike Ditka. But, you know, to talk with a Cowboy Hall of Famer in a year where two more Cowboys join the Hall of Fame. What's it like for you as a member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, but as a Cowboy to see more Cowboys joining you in that exclusive club?
You know, it's great. You know, it's to see your teammates, guys you've played with, guys you've rooted for, guys you've known all your lives. It's just a great feeling to have teammates alongside you wearing those gold jackets because, you know, not a lot of guys get an opportunity to make that step into the Hall of Fame, and to see one of our guys go in, and two of them, you know, this year in the last 3 years, 2 years, we've had three, And it's just a great feeling. Looking forward to all the celebrations and all the things that are going to happen because of it. And they're just great guys, and they deserve every bit of it.
2-time Super Bowl champion, 10-time Pro Bowler. He is a Hall of Famer. Mel Renfro joining us here on the Blitz. It's one thing to see some of the current modern guys going in and a guy like Jimmy Johnson, but when you see a guy like Drew Pearson, who had to wait and wait and wait, when he finally got in and you got to talk to Drew, what did you tell him about what life is like as a Hall of Famer?
Well, I didn't have to tell Drew much because Drew had researched it. Drew knew more about the Hall of Fame, I think, than I did because he was so excited. He followed it. He had an eyeglass on it because he felt for a long time that he needed to be there, and like many others of us did, and many people, fans did, because of his reputation, the things that he did and what he stood for. It was just a matter of time anyway. It wasn't an if, it was just a matter of time. And to hear the excitement in his voice, every time he talked about the Hall of Fame, because whenever I saw Drew, he didn't refer to me as Mel, he referred to me as Mr. Hall of Famer. So he looked forward to it with great anticipation. And the day that it came, I think probably the greatest day of his life, because I tell you, when I saw him on the stage, I saw him behind the mic, and when I finally saw him in person at the event, boy, the excitement in his eyes and the big hug he gave me, and I tell you, it just doesn't get any better than that, and I just feel great for Drew, and it's just everything. The best is yet to come for him, because he's got a lot of things that are going to happen in the future because of his enshrinement.
Absolutely. And again, I think about some of the parallels, although not an even parallel, Mel, but, you had to wait quite a while before you got enshrined in the Hall of Fame, although, it happened so long ago. It feels like you've had that bust in Canton forever, but it's not like you retired and 8 years later you were in.
Well, yeah, there's a definite story behind that, and that can be qualified. But to have to wait as long as Drew did, and when he was so deserving, but it took me a while. But I knew there were a lot of Hall of Famers that told me, he said, "Mel, don't worry, you're going in." And there was a lot of things behind the reason I wasn't in, and I had it's written in my book as the reason why, and it's kind of not a good story, but it's something that happened, and it's past history. But it's all done and said. Drew's in. Boy, we're so happy, and we're just looking forward to the celebrations.
Hall of Famer Mel Renfro joining us here on the Blitz on San Antonio Sports Star. You think about the way you played the game back then, and it's always interesting when you talk with older players and you look at the way the game is played now and all the rules built for the offense. Yet you still have players making plays. When you see a young Trayvon Diggs for the Dallas Cowboys doing what he is doing in his second year, as a former corner, as a guy that played the position, what are your impressions of Diggs?
Well, he reminds me a lot of myself, because just watching him move, watching him read defensive, watching him being in position, taking advantage of opportunities, and his modesty, and I know he studies the game extremely well because he's in position. Those interceptions just don't come by chance. They come because he's done his homework. He's studied the offense. He studied the quarterback. He studied the offensive schemes. He studied the wide receivers. He knows what's going on out there. So when those opportunities for interceptions comes up, it's because he's done his homework and he's in a position to make the play.
He's got that, natural instinct, the ball hawk that you hear often referred to from when you're talking about defensive backs. And I think about, you led the league in interceptions back in '69, finished with 52 in your career in an era where they didn't throw it like they do now. Are you surprised that you don't see guys getting more interceptions? Is that just from, like you said, either that natural instinct or just quarterbacks and receivers just that good today? Sometimes you got to tip your cap to the offensive guys.
Well, it's a whole lot different nowadays. The game is a lot faster. It's a lot more complex than I see quarterbacks throwing balls why in the heck did he throw that ball where he threw it? And I don't know what's going on in the offensive coach's mind and what he's thinking when he's setting those things up. But for a guy like Trayvon Diggs to be prepared and be in a position to make those type of plays under those difficult circumstances with so many things going on with the offensive plays, with the different lineups, with the different many wide receivers, and having all the things you have to pay attention to. The guy's done an incredible job, and I think he's just going to continue to play well because he's just built to do that, and he's smart, and he's got the speed, and he's just got that knack to be where the ball is, and we're going to see a lot out of him this year.
I hope it just continues on the pace that he is on. It's been incredible, and you know what it's like to win a couple of Super Bowls. You've got 2 rings. You know what a Super Bowl team looks like. When you look at this Cowboys team and you hear different players talk about this seems to be a special group. Jaylon Smith on his way out of town apparently wrote a letter to the team saying you guys are a special group. Go get it done. Not asking to say, do you think the Cowboys can win the Super Bowl this year, but do they have the look of a team that can go win a Super Bowl?
Well, there's no question about it. There is actually no question that they have the look. But, looks can be deceiving. They wrote books about us in the late 60s about next year's champions. We were going to win it every year, but we didn't. We lost 4 years in a row, and they wrote books about being next year's champions. It's not carved in stone, but they have the look. They have the look. They just have to get it done, and there's a very good chance that they can. They have to be a little more consistent in certain areas. I was a little disappointed in the last game, in the last quarter or so, when they gave up those easy touchdowns. You just can't do that. No matter what you they played an excellent game, and they scored a lot of points, but to give up so many points, easy points late in the game, that's not a good sign. They're going to have to get on the draft board and correct those things. And if they do that, they're going to have a long season, and we got a lot of good things to look forward to.
Mel, as you say that, as you visit with Mel Renfro here on the Blitz, I can't help but picture you, sitting in your living room watching the game, and when Anthony Brown missed what would have been a game-sealing interception. He had that one and dropped it, and 6 plays later, Carolina scores. Are you watching the defense like every other fan, or from a defensive back's mind, screaming at your TV that he dropped what looked like an easy pick?
Oh yeah. And I'm telling myself, and not like Cornell Green told me my rookie year. He said you can't do that. You drop an easy interception in a it doesn't matter when you drop an easy interception. You don't do it, and you can't play this game and do stuff like that. And you remember it. I mean, you remember it, and you don't forget it. And if you don't forget it, you're gonna make plays, and you're gonna have good successes. And hopefully, at the end of the year, you're gonna have Super Bowls to look forward to.
And hopefully for the Cowboys, that pays off. Hall of Famer Mel Renfro joining us here on the Blitz. He's working with our friends at Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds and at Coach Mike Ditka's charity, the Gridiron Greats Assistance Fund. And you look at the players today, the amount of money that they're making and all the benefits that they have. Back in your day, you didn't have that. And a lot of players, a lot of your former teammates struggling today. Tell me about Gridiron Greats Assistance Fund and how it helps those that we remember watching when we were growing up.
Well, Mike Ditka was an opponent. I remember him with the Lions. One of the toughest tight ends that ever played the game. Just tough guy, period. Played against him in some Pro Bowls. Played under him. He was one of my coaches, and got to know him as a friend, a good friend. And the guy would give his heart for anything. Just a great guy, giving heart. And back in those days where the big money wasn't made, these guys make more today in one play than a lot of guys making a whole career. I mean, a whole season. And it's just incredible how much money's made. And back in those days where guys weren't making much and they had medical problems, they couldn't pay bills. But Mike Dick stepped up and created the Gridiron Greats, and has created an opportunity to bring some of his friends along and raise a lot of money to help these guys that are in need. And I was fortunate to be able to become one of those guys, and hung with it for a very long time. And love working with Mike, and love working with the Gridiron Greats. And I think the Pork Ryan connection is just a great opportunity to bring light to the fundraising end of it, and helping these former players that are in need of help, later in their years.
And that's one of the great things. You can get into HEB, get yourself some of the Southern Recipe small batch pork rinds. They've got those great bold flavors. The Korean kimchi barbecue and pasilla chili cheese are two of my favorites. And when you buy a bag of those, you're getting a great snack. You can use them to cook with if you're keto. They're fantastic if you're keto, low carb. You need that good low carb friendly snack. But you also know when you buy that bag, you're helping some of these Gridiron Greats and the projects that they have. And you can also go to their website, porkrinds.com, where you can enter to win some great prizes as we get ready for Pork Rind Appreciation Day, which is Super Bowl Sunday. They were clever, Mel, when they came up with that. The cool thing there, though, is you can win $5,000. You could win Southern Recipe small batch pork rinds for a year. You can even win autographed gear from a Pro Football Hall of Famer like Mel Renfro. It's fantastic, everything that they're doing to support Mike Dick and the Gridiron Greats.
My own wife says they're addicting, and I certainly agree with her, because every time I pick them up, I can't put them down.
Absolutely.
They just taste great.
They do. They're fantastic. And those flavors, they're not your daddy's rinds. I can promise you that. They have figured it out there at Southern Recipe small batch pork rinds. Two-time Super Bowl champion, Hall of Famer with the Dallas Cowboys, Mel Renfro. Always great catching up to you. Hope I get to see you in Los Angeles at the Super Bowl this year.
Look forward to it, Jason. Good talking to you.
Appreciate it. The great Mel Renfro joining us here on the Blitz. It is fantastic, and everything that they do there at Southern Recipe small batch pork rinds and with Mike Ditka's Gridiron Greats is so true. I know every year we go to Super Bowl, a lot of times Mel's got to be pushing 80, right? And you see some of these guys and how difficult they have walking. They don't have the policies and the insurance, and they need the help. So it's a way for you to help also get a great snack. And, it's interesting when you think about what he said about getting those takeaways and getting the interceptions. What Diggs is able to do, Anthony Brown could have had an easy interception the other day. I love the fact that you can imagine a Hall of Famer screaming at his TV when Brown dropped that one. I promise you, Mel was saying I could catch that one today. I would have picked that one. They don't get more easy than that. But you think about the turnovers, and how important they are. Mike McCarthy talked about it today when he wasn't talking about releasing Jaylon Smith, that when you get the big plays from your defense, you get those takeaways, how much that helps the offense. It is such a big part of every game.
Turnovers are big plays. I mean, we look at big play production, big play opportunities. Taking the ball away is a big play. So our big plays do counteract the big plays we've given up. But by no means are we, looking at that as acceptable or that's okay. So it's definitely a focus of ours.
And they've got to continue. I mean, you look at Diggs; he was just the NFC Defensive Player of the Month First week in October, he gets Defensive Player of the Week after another week with some takeaways. That's what he needs to keep doing. And you know what he's got this week? On Sunday there at Jerry World, he's got a quarterback that is known to turn the ball over. But I look at this Giants game, and maybe because it's the NFC East. Maybe it's because Eli Manning has haunted the Cowboys more times than we want to give him credit for. By the way, did you miss Eli on Monday night? I did. Those two dudes are only doing 10 weeks. Somebody needs to renegotiate that contract ASAP. I didn't think I would miss Eli as much as I did. Peyton too, but Eli, double birds. I mean, you look at the Giants coming up, and I don't want to say trap game, but I hear some of my Cowboy friends talking about, well, this one's going to be easy. I'm not so sure. I'm not. When you look at the Giants and what they've done this year, and I realize you got the offense that has had some issues, but if they get on a roll, they could be tough. I'm sure the Saints thought that they had themselves an easy win. I thought the Saints were going to have an easy win. I took them in my Eliminator Challenge. I'm done after 4 weeks. A waste of money. I did not expect the Giants to win that game. I did not. I'm not, and maybe that's got me a little bit more nervous about this game. And then I hear Mike McCarthy say this.
Well, I think clearly their last opportunity was their best.
They won.
They lost 2
brilliant.
games with walk-off field goals, but I see a team that's ascending in their play style and their production. So, frankly, they've been more productive. If you look at last year and this year's statistics, they've been more productive in their away games. As far as total offense, total defense, and points. So, once again, we love these kind of games. These are the games that, these division games are awesome. Always enjoy competing in them. So we're expecting a competitive environment. Sunday, second game, all those things, an opportunity to win 3 games in a row at home. I mean, home field advantage is, something that if you look around the league is, the way teams have a better record now. So, just conscious of those things. So we're just sticking to the basics. Love our opportunity, but this is a team that's definitely playing. I think they're playing better football than they did weeks 1 and 2.
I would hope that they're playing better football at this point, but I look at the Giants. They got a 1-3 record. I don't know how they got beat by the Denver Broncos in the opener 27-13 because that Denver team isn't very good. Then they barely lost a football team 30-29. I think most of us remember watching that game. Then they barely lost to the crap Atlanta Falcons. And then they beat the New Orleans Saints in overtime. But if you learned anything watching the games last weekend was kind of like 2 weeks ago in college football where you go, well, it's kind of a ho-hum schedule. And all of a sudden you had upsets galore, right? You had that last week in the NFL. I don't know how good or bad the New York Giants really are because I look at who they played. And the only good team they've played were the New Orleans Saints, and I don't know how good they are. They lost to the Falcons. That's a bad team. They lost to the Broncos. While the Broncos have a good record, they're not a good football team. And 3 weeks from now, they're going to be a 500 team. And 6 weeks from now, they're going to be 3 games under 500 because they had 3 cupcakes to start. So I don't know how good this Giants team can be, but I know Saquon Barkley scares the hell out of me. I know I've seen that Jones kid. When he gets on a roll, he can sling it. And if you're Jason Garrett calling plays against this Dallas Cowboys defense, aren't you picking on Anthony Brown? I mean, they've got some nice receivers on that New York Giants football team. They do. And they're going to pick on Brown. There is a coach out there who is staying up late in New York City, utilizing all his notes on the Dallas Cowboys to come up with some plays that he knows, that he's comfortable, that he's confident are going to fool the Cowboy players. Now, one player that he knew he could fool is no longer there. That's because Jaylon Smith got fired. And we'll get into that coming up. But it is always kind of nerve-wracking to think that Jason Garrett is calling plays against the Cowboys. And I know they did it last year. And last year's game against the Giants, by the way, almost the 1-year anniversary of a certain quarterback's leg going snap, crackle, pop. against the Giants at Jerry World. There's a lot going into this game. And, you think about Dak Prescott, as smooth as he has been this year, as confident as he has been this year. One thing about Dak that I have found interesting all season is his openness. And I appreciate him talking about mental states and about mental health and all of that. I wonder how many times when he goes to meet the media this week, he gets asked about it being kind of the 1 year anniversary of his leg breaking and how that's going to have an effect on him going into the game. I was surprised how much he talked about it going into the Tampa Bay game. Now, part of that is he was asked questions and he answered them. But the honesty and the depth in which he went in those answers did surprise me. But now you're coming up on an anniversary. And all of us have days that roll around that are anniversaries that you don't want to celebrate, that get you into a different mind space. And I don't know if we should call them anniversaries or milestone dates or whatever you want to call them. But that's coming up for Dak Prescott. And he seems to be in a really good space right now. A really good space. Locked in complete control of what they're doing. But it's got to be on the back of his mind when he walks out there, knowing what he has had to go through over basically the last 365 days, and he looks over and he sees that same ugly Giants uniform and that same spot of the field, and Jason Garrett standing right there. I mean, the flashbacks, it's got to be there. I think that's a real thing that the Cowboys, at least internally, are going to address. You would think they have to. It's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. Cowboys are still going to win this game. They got to win this game. But I mean, to think they're going to win. Although, man, this team is just scoring a lot of points. I mean, they could have scored more against Carolina, and they certainly shouldn't have given up what they gave up, right? I mean, that third quarter that the Cowboys played against the Carolina Panthers was one of the better quarters that we have seen from the Cowboys in years. But the fourth quarter, defensively, was too much like what we've seen over the last couple of years with teams scoring at will in a fourth quarter. I mean, last year, Mike McCarthy, he was, and you go back and you look at some of those games and, they were in them midway third quarter, and then all of a sudden, they lose by 14, they lose by 20, because that's what the Cowboys defense did last year. They got some things to clean up, which as a coach you appreciate. You get a good win, but you got a lot of things on tape that you get to clean up. More NFL news coming up. Chicago has finally figured out their quarterback situation. Or have they? Well, we'll get into that as we continue here on the Blitz. You want the best water quality for your family. Let me tell you about Alamo Water Softener. It's a great locally owned, family-run business by the Townsends. And I've had a water softener in my home from Alamo Water Softeners for over a decade. If you're in a new build or you've got an older home, Alamo Water Softeners has a water treatment bundle with special pricing right now to give your home the highest quality water treatment available. Go to the website, alamowatersofteners.com. Schedule an appointment and have one of their whole home specialists come out to your house, test your water. They'll give you a free water analysis and a customized plan for your family and home. And then you can choose from several bundles, including their premier whole home bundle, where you can get a free standard gas or electric water heater when you purchase a select top-of-the-line water softener, a +1 filter, and a reverse osmosis system while supplies last. Now is the time to take advantage of bundle pricing at Alamo Water Softeners. So do what I did. Discover the Alamo Water Softeners difference. Go to alamowatersofteners.com. That's alamowatersofteners.com. Let's get a Sports Center update. Here's old James Pledger.
Thanks a lot, Jason. Well, the Spurs, who are 1-0 in the preseason, are playing their second preseason game as we speak, as they're in Detroit to take on the Pistons. Currently, 5:43 left to go in the first quarter. The score is tied at 14 between the Spurs and the Pistons. San Antonio currently being led by Lonnie Walker, who has 7 points so far in the game. The Dallas Cowboys made a big move last night as they released former Pro Bowl linebacker and second-round pick Jaylon Smith, and he already has a new home, according to Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network, who reports he is finalizing a deal with the Green Bay Packers. In other Cowboy news, cornerback Trayvon Diggs, a week after being named the Defensive Player of the Month for the month of September, has now added Defensive Player of the Week for the week 4 after his 4-tackle, 2 passes defense, and 2 interception game in the Cowboys' 36-28 win over the Carolina Panthers last week. The Houston Texans released wide receiver Anthony Miller, who had just 5 catches for 23 yards and a touchdown in 2 games. The Texans trade a 5th-round pick for Miller back in July, receiving Miller and a 7th from the Bears in exchange. I'm James Pledger for San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
At Manrique Custom Vision, you'll find some people just aren't good candidates for Z-LASIK. That's why they have different technologies for different patients. They are a custom vision center focused on helping people get rid of their glasses and contacts. Rudy J here. Call them today for a complimentary consultation to see what's right for you. Financing is offered to all FSA and medical spending accounts accepted. Get treated like family by Dr. Manrique. Call 354-2020 for the Manrique difference. That's 354-2020.
Injuries happen, so if you twist, pull, pop, or snap something, you need Dr. David Espinosa at TSAOG Orthopedics. Dr. Espinosa treats all non-surgical orthopedic injuries and has same-day and next-day availability. Telemedicine services are also available. There is no reason to be in pain. If you are hurting, visit Dr. David Espinosa at TSAOG Orthopedics. Learn more at TSAOG.com. That's TSAOG.com, or schedule your appointment by calling 210-804-5490.
When it comes to social distancing, if 6 feet is not enough with your spouse, it's probably time to change your status. Call DivorceDude.com at 210-201-0303 and ask for Mark, the Divorce Dude with Pulling Law PLLC. DivorceDude.com can help you get a fast, affordable, agreed divorce. But if you want to fight, the Divorce Dude can fight for you. DivorceDude.com gives you easy legal options and sticks with you every step of the way. If the marriage is over, why fight? DivorceDude.com.
Your source to local news and sports in San Antonio begins with the San Antonio Express News. We've collected, written, and shown the stories that matter most to San Antonio. Look no further than the San Antonio Express News to continue to provide information and strength to the community. Whether it's on the field or on a court, we provide the ground local coverage. Go to expressnews.com for the most up-to-date high school and college sports coverage. Subscribe today at expressnews.com. Working from home, you realize you don't have enough outlets or USB ports. Hill Electric can fix that for you. For over 3 decades, the family-owned Hill Electric has served San Antonio homes and businesses. From adding an outlet, fixing that fuse that always blows, or that flickering light, Hill Electric has the right service at the right price, and there is never a service charge and always free estimates. Call Hill Electric at 210-404-9074. That's 404-9074. Or go to hill-electric.com.
Oh, according to research, 82% of people remember radio ads. So 82% of you listening will remember that this is an ad for ZipRecruiter. 82% of you will note that if you're hiring, ZipRecruiter finds qualified people for your job. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And 82% of you will remember that you can try ZipRecruiter for free, but you have to go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. Yes, free. Again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
I'm Joel Clark, a Select Quote agent, with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and he can't take it with him. Well, I went to work and found Ray, who's 40 and takes medication to control his high blood pressure, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for only $19 a month. That's way more coverage for a lot less than what he was paying. If SelectQuote didn't shop for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote and to find out how much you can save, call 1-800-995-1133. That's 1-800-995-1133. 1-800-995-1133. Or go to SelectQuote.com. Since 1985, you shop, we save.
Get full details on the example policies at selectquote.com/commercials. Your premium could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
Guys, stop what you're doing. Give me a few seconds of your time and let me give you a piece of advice that will change your love life forever. Have you noticed you've been losing a little pep in your step? Has your lady friend asked you, is everything okay? Do you find yourself having trouble rising for the occasion? Do you stress out before that special moment and wonder, is it gonna work? Guys, I'm gonna let you in on a big secret. You don't ever have to worry again. The Mojo Male Enhancement Formula has you covered. Mojo is the 100% guaranteed male enhancement formula that guarantees lasting success, if you know what I mean. The Mojo Male Enhancement Formula is safe, natural, and effective every single time, guaranteed. Mojo is available in a fast-acting spray and a quick-action capsule. Do yourself and her a favor and call Pure Line Nutrition in San Antonio today. They'll get you set up for success. Call 210-494-2210. That number again is 210-494-2210. Mojo Male Enhancement, only available at Pure Line Nutrition.
In our court, there are no objections, just rejections. This is San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN, AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. There has been a Thad Young sighting in Detroit. There has been a Thad Young score in Detroit. According to Twitter, he checked in and promptly scored. Thad Young playing the role of Josh Primo in preseason game number 2. Just come right in and light it up. Should have played Fallout Boy right there, Pledge. That would have been pretty good if we had planned that. That would have been good. And you know, he didn't get any play at all in the first preseason game, Thad Young, here at the AT&T Center. But in Detroit, he's getting some run. Pop was asked about that in pregame. Well, let me plug this in here. Hey, Pop, what do you think about that?
Thad?
Yeah.
He's a pro.
Good.
He's been around. He's a leader. He's a pro. He knows how to play. He's all about professionalism.
You almost kind of felt like Pop wasn't sure. Thad?
Well, I'm glad he knows how to play.
I mean, yeah, you've been around forever. You know, I mean, you know, sometimes, and he kind of joked at media day when, you know, however many minutes in, he was finally asked about McDermott, and then kind of like, oh yeah, that dude's on our team. You know, I guess, or was he expecting Thaddeus? Just the way he answered. Somebody's asking me about that.
Thad?
Yeah, that guy. He's pro. He's, you know, I kid. I wish I could watch the game tonight. I just cannot stand that the preseason games aren't televised. And most years, I don't care. I don't care because I know what I'm going to see from the San Antonio Spurs. This year, I want to see them. Maybe it's because I can't watch them that I've got more interest in it. And I see somebody like Carl Schoening who is tweeting left and right about it. And then all the other people that I follow that are watching it. But then I saw one dude, I don't know what he did to his account, but he's been suspended and he can't get apparently his league pass again until the regular season starts. I don't know about that. I just can't part ways with dollars for preseason games. I know they're supposedly available on the Spurs app. I will try it again, but the other night, I had video and no audio for a few minutes, and then I got the little spinny thing, and then it stayed the spinny thing, and then I closed out and tried to go back in. Nothing.
See, I just thought you really didn't care to watch it on your phone.
No, I don't like to watch it on my phone, but if that was the option that I had, I wanted to. I want to see what they're doing. I generally have an interest in preseason Spurs basketball. I don't know that I've ever said that before, but I do want to see, and I'm curious. There was Monday night football on. and I've got a big TV, and I'm sitting here trying to get my phone to work. Felt like on a Saturday, on a Saturday, I'm watching, let's say, a Longhorn game on the TV, and I got whatever on the iPad, and like UIW or something on my phone. I do that on a fairly regular basis. I do know how to watch things on my phone. I just don't enjoy it. I don't. And I wish they would make watching things on your big TV on the app easier to go from one game to the other, right? I just wish there would be more of a guide. It's like guy that we work with has YouTube TV. He dumped direct and went YouTube. And he still gets pissed off at the guide when he's trying to figure out what he wants to watch on the live TV part of things.
Yeah, I'm struggling with that right now.
It's not easy. It's not easy. And again, if the guide and the ease of changing channels is what's keeping me from flipping to streaming TV, then streaming TV needs to realize there's a lot of people the same way and figure out a better way to do things. If you don't care and you're willing to deal with that pain in the ass, then go with it. The other part I have with the idea of switching to streaming TV is I can't wait for a credit card to expire or to get hacked or whatever, so I get all the emails from everything that I spend money on that I don't realize I spend money on. Because I'm going to guess I'm spending right now on streaming apps more than I think I do. Because, this one's $7.99, this one's $4.99, this one's, and you can cancel any time, but then you can't remember what you have or, where it is. And, it's one of those things that, your credit card goes south and all of a sudden you hear from everybody, right? I can't wait for that to happen because, honestly, I think I probably am spending right now between mine and, my daughter's $50-$60 a month just in streaming stuff. That's on top of DirecTV. And then you kind of feel bad because if you turn something off, then you realize, well, you've given it to a college kid, so 71 other people have your information too, and so you can't do that to a college kid, right? It's kind of like when you're out and you run into I can't. I mean, look, if I run into a college kid at a bar that I know. Not just any random college kid. I'm not going all Urban Meyer here. I don't want to sound like a creep, right? But if I run into somebody that Erica went to high school with, or say, my good friend Wayne, his kid Austin, I see him somewhere like at the Alamo Dome Saturday at the UTSA game, I'm buying him a beer. I saw him one day and bought his lunch. I mean, they're college kids. You do that. So if Erica has given passwords to her college friends, I can't go turn that off. But I have no idea what we're spending on all the different streaming services. But I'm certainly not going to buy League Pass for preseason games and give my credit because I'll never remember to turn it off. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's kind of like the all the newspaper subscriptions, right? I love supporting local journalism and love supporting newspapers. Well, say you sign up for the Dallas Morning News when they do their 99-cent promotion, and then all of a sudden you look at your credit card and I'm paying how much? $7 a week now for what happened to the 99 cents? You know what I mean? It's just all those different things that go into it. But I can't play for I'm not going to pay for preseason basketball. I care, just not that much. Did you buy the preseason package?
Oh, absolutely not.
Are you watching the game now?
The Rockets game tomorrow is on national television.
I didn't ask you about the Rockets. I asked you about the team you care about, the San Antonio Spurs.
I cover the Spurs. You asked me about the team I care about, though.
The team that you cover pays your bills. That means you should care about them.
I mean, no, I'm not buying the NBA League Pass to watch a preseason game for how many do they have? 6?
Yeah, I mean that's it. And I know apparently it's available on the app. I didn't get it to work the other night. I've been working this whole time. Haven't even tried this time. It's just kind of one of those frustrating things.
My provider's not in a fight with the Spurs and who televises them. So once the regular season kicks around, I will actually be able to watch Spurs basketball.
Is Dish Network still pissing in a pissing match with Bally Sports Southwest?
Yep.
Are we going on year 3 of this?
Yeah, Rob's still having to crack stream it. Look on your face.
See, not doing a show with Rob every day, I don't get to hear the daily bitch, which probably could become a segment on their show. It really is. But we could put some fancy music behind it and get a sponsor for it and that sort of thing. But I see like Ken's TV, I see on their scroll is apparently going through it with Dish Network, or they're about to. I mean,
he won't even get to watch the alternate games now.
well, that's it. I mean, I look at that and think, I know DirecTV has had their issues. And last year, I think it was last year, it might have been 2 years ago, probably last year, because that's when I discovered Hulu. And I think
they
it's
have
Hulu.
live sports.
They might have live sports. It was Hulu or whichever one I signed up for the 7-day free trial, because it was CBS. It was around the Army-Navy game.
No, that one Hulu.
And then, I forget what I signed up for.
Paramount?
But it was,
Paramount, maybe?
No, it was one of those. It was like a Hulu, but
yeah,
that's the problem. There's so many of them. And then I canceled it. Apparently, they didn't get my email. And you know what I mean? That's the problem with all these things. You sign up for a 7-day trial here, this or that. And they're sneaky because, if you use your email, then you try to get another free pass, say, using your other email. Somehow they know your house and the TV that it's going to, and they say, no, you can't do that. Can't do that. You can't do that. Besides that, I mean, tonight, I got some things I got to deal with anyway. But you got baseball on tonight. I am going to watch playoff baseball over preseason basketball,
especially with tonight's game.
Well,
you got the preseason or the World Series favorite that could possibly fall.
Well, I hate the Dodgers.
Same.
But I hate the Cardinals.
Same.
I don't know what I'm rooting for tonight in this game. I know Max Scherzer is going to get the start for the Dodgers. I don't know. We're not carrying the game, right?
No, but can I give you a rooting interest?
No, I'm hoping for 19 innings of baseball tonight. And in the end, you got the guy that was selling popcorn and beer that had to stop in the 7th inning because, the game should be over. That come in and close this thing out. That they go through all their arms and then just get rolled in the first round. That is the only good way for this game, this one game series to end. I mean, when you think about teams that you don't like, I don't like the Yankees, but I don't hate the Red Sox. But because I'm an Astros fan, I feel cheated that they didn't get punished like the Astros did for cheating, right? So, and that Alex Cora guy. So last night I was rooting for the Red Sox so the Yankees would lose because I really don't like the Yankees. But the idea of but we didn't get the game that we should have gotten last night. That's a game. Last night's game did not live up to the hype because the Yankees, who quite frankly had no business being there, got there because they're the damn Yankees. Tonight, rooting interest in this game? Give me a reason.
All right. So the Dodgers, we know, have been very vocal about the Astros and said stolen World Series from them, right?
Uh-huh.
The Cardinals were at least quiet throughout the whole thing.
Well, they know better.
Exactly.
I mean, they've had their issues. I mean, they've had their issues. Joe Reinagle from Ken's TV says the soon-to-be champion St. Louis Cardinals and calls the Astros cheaters. Come on, bring it on, Joe Reinagle. Bring it on, my friend. I know he's a longtime St. Louis fan. I mean, I like Joe Reinagle. I think Joe Reinagle is a great guy.
There's a butt coming.
But he's got awful taste in franchises that he roots for. That dude roots for the Tennessee Titans.
Ugh.
That Joe Reinagle roots for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Ugh.
I don't know who his hockey team is, but I don't think Joe Reinagle knows what hockey is. I'm going to guess he's a Spurs fan, but his NFL team, now granted, he is true to the organization. He was an Oilers fan and went to Tennessee. Never became a Texans fan. Has stayed with the organization. So I'll give him some credit there. You know, the Love You Blue. Back in the early 90s, we used to play flag football every Sunday, and he would show up wearing a Cody Carlson Oilers jersey.
Nice.
I mean, Reinagle is that guy, but he's got bad taste in teams. I mean, he really does.
See, I just can't. It's because the ownership group's still the same.
The St. Louis Cardinals, though, I can't root for them because Albert Pujols, that ball is still sailing out there somewhere in space. I mean, it might have bounced off Saturn by now, but it's still out there going somewhere. Those NL Central battles, as great as they were and as much as I miss them, I cannot root for the Cardinals. But I really, really can't root for the Dodgers in the game tonight. I really can't. Unless I go to UnderdogFantasy.com and put a little scratch on that, because then you have a reason to root. When you go to UnderdogFantasy.com, the best new place to play fantasy sports with daily and season-long fantasy sports, you can go in there and then you figure out what your rooting interest is. You. And whatever players you decide that you want to get in on. They've got so much there at UnderdogFantasy.com. It is so fun to play. Sign up today, use promo code RADIO, and make your first deposit to receive a free $25 in bonus cash. Go to UnderdogFantasy.com or find them in the App Store. Register with promo code RADIO to get $25 cash for free with your first deposit. Download the app today. Start playing. Don't forget to enter promo code RADIO at sign up. Terms and conditions to apply. And get in on tonight's baseball. And you got the NFL coming up. A good game tomorrow night. And then, of course, the Sunday action. That NFL Pick'em game is a lot of fun where you can pick any 2 to 5 player props to parlay together, and you can win up to 20 times on your entry in one night. They've got the over-under where you can pick whether a player is going to go over or under a given stat line in the game. It is so much fun to play. Get that $25 in bonus cash when you sign up and use promo code RADIO. Go download the mobile app or go online, UnderdogFantasy.com.
For $1,000 now, enter the winning keyword, sports. SPORTS, sports at SASportsStar.com. Good luck from San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Hey, Texas fans. Coors Light, the official beer partner of the Texas Longhorns and San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN invite you to join us for the annual Red River Showdown viewing party at Ojos Locos Cantina on Northwest Loop 410, Saturday, October 9th.
That's right. R&R in the morning will broadcast live from 9 to 11. Texas and OU. Kickoff will get going at 11. Enjoy some great food, great Coors Light tailgate prizes, and great Coors Light drink specials. Don't miss the Red River Showdown, Ojos Locos Cantina, Saturday, October the 9th. The party starts at 11.
Now's the time to get a great deal on select Kubota compact tractors. Rated #1 for reliability in the under 100 horsepower category, they're designed for easy operation and feature performance-matched attachments. Right now, put 0 down and get 0% APR for 84 months, plus save up to $1,400. Now through December 31st. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
From the Gulf of Mexico to the hill country of Texas, Ewald Kubota is your Kubota dealer.
Looking for a protein-packed snack to power you through the day? Of course you are. Only Southern Recipe small batch pork rinds have the bold flavors that stand out in the Me Too snack aisle. Sea salt and cracked black pepper, pineapple ancho chili, pasilla chili cheese, and more. Take your snacking to higher flavor levels with Southern Recipe small batch pork rinds. And keto fans, you're going to love this low-carb crunch. Visit your local H-E-B and SouthernRecipeSmallBatch.com to see the power of the rinds.
Southern Recipe pork rinds.
Do you love your garage? Can you get your cars and the kids' bikes in? Jason Minix here for Garageization, your garage storage solution. With a variety of shelving, overhead racks, slat walls, and closed cabinet options, Garageization can make your garage functional for the entire family. Call 210-664-4494 and have them give you a free customized plan for your family's needs. For over a decade, Garageization has helped people love their garage. Learn more online at GarageOrganizationSanAntonio.com.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
Pro football season's here, and pro roofers save valuable time with Beacon Pro Plus. Beacon Pro Plus works 24/7 for material ordering, order history, and automated promotion tracking, so you can get your favorite GAF roofing products even when working remotely. And now, order on Beacon Pro Plus and get a $175 gift card and a chance for a VIP pro football getaway. Gear up and raise your game with Beacon Pro Plus today. Build, score, and win at BECN.com.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who believe only quitters end a game in a tie, the type of guys who choose the bar with the biggest TVs to overcompensate for theirs at home. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
This is the place where time stands still.
With each down is a battle of inches.
How about 83 yards from Prescott to Elliott?
This is San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
This is Greeny, weekdays 10 a.m. to noon on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
We're back already. Sorry. I'm writing an email. The guy from we got good news today. The official invite for the Army Navy game presented by USAA. So I'm emailing the guy back. Priorities. Last segment or return this email right away. Urgent. Are you showing off your new mug again? Pledge gets swag, man, and he wants everybody to see it. But that swag that you see on Facebook Live right now or YouTube, you could get that swag as well. That Texas Longhorns Coors Light Cup. Saturday at Ojos Locos, Saturday edition of R&R in the morning as they get you ready for the Red River Shootout or Showdown or whatever we're calling it now. I still call it the shootout there at AT&T Stadium. Rob and Rudy
Cotton Bowl
have to go to work on a Saturday morning to get you ready for a big game from 9 to 11. And you could also win. It's going to be a fun time out there with Coors Light. They are going to give away Coors Light as these cool alarm clocks that when the alarm clock goes off, it's got a cooler in it, so you've got a cold beer ready to go. I mean, Pledge will never be the same because he's got one, and he ain't giving it back to anybody. So you want to win one of those cool alarm clocks that comes with a beer cooler. How cool is that? Because you can't drink all day if you don't start first thing. That's awesome.
It's my life
Saturday,
motto.
Ojos Locos. R&R in the morning out there from 9 to 11. Get there at 11 and get ready for the game. The Texas Longhorns against the Oklahoma Sooners. It is 6:56 and OU still sucks. Casey Thompson cannot if the Texas Longhorns are going to win that game. It's Wednesday. Coming up Thursday and Friday, we'll talk a lot more about that Texas OU game. Probably mention a little bit about the Alabama A&M game. Andrew Monaco, he'll be on with us as he is every Friday. That'll do it for this edition of the Blitz. Follow along on Twitter to keep up with the Spurs or download the app, figure it out. But we'll talk about what we didn't see tomorrow on the Blitz. Have a good night, everybody.
Friday nights mean one thing.
San Antonio Sports Stars High School Football Game of the Week, powered by Hill Electric. Jason Minix and Kevin Brock have the call each week beginning at 7 p.m.
From the GPS of Texas